Last time on Square Roots, we rub elbows with a nouveau riche basketfish, succumb to the siren song with Gilbert, and become a certified dragon slayer. Later, we see what's hatching with the Lillipees. Hey, Lillipees, this is the police. You're under a nest. Get it? 'Cause they have bird nest on their head? Get it?
And welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I'm joined by Matthew Van Zant.
Hello, friends. Hello, Jim. Just one thing, Jim.
Hello.
May I recommend for Johnny his nickname this episode? Could it be Johnny Little Peas Brandon?
Sure. Also joined by John Little Peas Brandon.
Yes, you'll get me hard. So hard.
No, that's why we didn't do that guy. Also joined by Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa, and I'm back and better than ever.
And this is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs. Like Legend of Mana.
Hang on now. Play is stretching the truth. We talk about your favorite classic
Well, that's
RPGs.
true. But we do play them. I mean,
Yeah,
some of
I
us
played
play
the
some
game.
of them some of the time.
Yeah, we make an effort a lot of the time.
Which is my way of admitting that I may. No, I'm kidding. I'm all caught up. Hey, why don't we talk about how we leveled up? I think Vanessa should go first.
Yes, I leveled up by watching a movie called Hugh Jackman Remembers in The Remembrance.
oh, you saw that?
I did see it.
Yeah,
Remembrance
HBO, right?
does look like in that genre of movies, like where Keanu Reeves has a family of clones and where Johnny Depp turns into a computer. Like it seems in that genre.
Yeah, I kept seeing the trailers for it and thinking, like, I'll watch that at home. Like, it looks like weird sci-fi. Like, I'm always down for weird, like, dramatic sci-fi.
It was much more of a detective noir movie than a sci-fi movie, I would say. I would say that
Was it a good noir movie, though?
That sounds good, too, though.
No.
Oh, no! Oh.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, I did not care for it. It was I watched it with Vanessa's mom, and at one point Vanessa's mom said, "Have I seen this movie before?" And I said, "No, it's brand new, but you have seen 100 movies that are exactly like this movie," because it was so kind of by the book, cookie cutter noir kind of movie.
Yeah.
With this sci-fi element that really was kind of peripheral to what was going on. Like, it didn't need to be there. They could have told the same story without it.
How did it compare to Dark City?
I think that it was not as good as Dark City.
You've never seen
I've seen Dark City. I saw it in the
City's
theater.
good.
I don't remember.
Dark City is amazing.
It's like a
There's
guy
a ton of those
and-
weird sci-fi movies that are great. Dark City's one. Gattaca's fantastic.
Oh, I hated Gattaca.
Oh, it's so
Oh,
good.
you didn't like Gattaca? I like Gattaca, too. Yeah, I think Gattaca's good.
I thought Gattaca was dumb as well, Johnny. And I rewatched it recently because I was like, did I really think this was dumb? Is this really
Hang on.
dumb? Let's find
Nobody's
out.
saying that they're not dumb. I'm just
No,
saying
but
that
not
I
enjoyable.
like them.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah,
like
I
Dark
enjoyed it.
City.
I like weird sci-fi premises.
Me too.
Gattaca was a good weird sci-fi premise.
I saw In Time in the theater.
Ew.
Oh, is that the one with Justin Timberlake?
It sure is.
You know, like, I really thought, like, I was like, I'll give that a shot. I like Timberlake. I like weird sci-fi. And I watched it, and I got like 15 minutes in, and they had already made like 6 time puns, and I was like, fuck off. I'm done. Absolutely out.
It has one of my favorite actors, Jeepers Peepers himself, Cillian Murphy.
Ooh, I love Jeepers
Oh.
Peepers.
That was in time,
Jeepers.
not
But it also has that
reminiscent.
guy, that
Where'd you
weird,
get
like, red-haired guy who's in a lot of stuff. Isn't he in Time?
Domhnall Gleeson?
That's who I was thinking.
Yeah.
Domhnall Gleeson?
But I don't know if
Yeah.
Domhnall Gleeson is in
got Big
time.
Bang.
he is a weird redhead-looking guy who's in a lot of stuff.
Big Bang lead Roseanne's son, as I like to
But
think
we're
of
not
him.
talking about In Time. We're talking about Reminiscence with Hugh Jackman, Rebecca Ferguson May. Rebecca Ferguson May is that lady from the Mission Impossible franchise that looks like every other woman who's in the Mission Impossible franchise.
Uh-huh.
So I watched it. I did not care for it, but it did put me in mind of a movie that I love called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Ooh.
With the other woman from the Mission Impossible series who looks like every other woman in the Mission Impossible series, Michelle Monaghan, and Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer. This is a movie from like 2005, I think. Yeah, 2005. It was right before Iron Man, right when Robert Downey Jr. was trying not to be an alcoholic anymore. And it's great. I love it. It's a noir, detective sort of black comedy, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a wonderful movie. If you have not seen it, you can watch it on Amazon Prime. Rent it.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is one of my very favorite movies, I have to say.
I love it. It's fantastic.
Such a great movie. That's Shane Black. That's a Shane Black
That
movie.
is Shane Black.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's really what got me excited for Iron Man 3, which turned out to be kind of not that great, but that's okay.
I like Iron Man 3, and I will defend it, but not here, not today, not now.
It's not bad. It's just not great.
Yeah, so if you want to watch Remembrance, watch Kiss 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 Bang Bang instead. Kiss Kiss a Bang Bang.
A kiss a bang bang.
You watch a Kiss Kiss a Bang Bang instead, you'll be happier. You live longer. You have a more fulfilled life. It also has Corbin Burnson, who listeners will remember as Mr. Spencer Sr., the father on The Psych Show. Great show.
Oh, yeah.
So that is all I know about how I leveled up. I also went to IKEA today. It was fine. Jim, how did you level up?
Hey, I got a new game, and that game is The Last of Us 2. Got it for my PS5, and I just completed my first playthrough of the game this morning, and it's so good. I don't know if you guys were into the first Last of Us game.
No. I tried, but I couldn't get into it. I don't know why.
John, did you play The Last of Us?
I played the first one and finished it. I did not play the second one. I was waiting for when I get a PS5, which has still not occurred.
Yeah, I only bought it because it was on sale for like $24 or something with the PlayStation Summer Sale. So I snagged it, and man, is it good. Like, I found a lot of the more violent parts actually very hard to watch. It seems to really kind of revel in the there is just brutal depictions of violence. Like there were some cutscenes I actually skipped because they made me uncomfortable. So content warning for that. But otherwise, like the plot of the game I thought was really good. The way it presents it, there's like some chapters that are flashbacks to like character backstories and things. Those were all so good, and the way it chooses to intersperse those to fill in like stuff that characters have mentioned but you haven't seen yet is really good, and really puts a nice like capper at the end of the story. I liked it a lot. And the addition of the new playable character, I think the new character, the one that all the dude bros on the internet went into a frenzy about because she's like a muscular woman.
Whoa!
Like,
no!
There's a muscular woman.
Oh, what if she snaps my penis off? Oh no!
SJWs. People were really upset about that, but man, she is such a great character. It's just good, and like none of the. Like, it's mentioned a couple times in the story, like the fact that she's so jacked, but there's a story reason for it, and she explains it. It's very interesting. Anyways, Last of Us 2, very good. I'm working on just getting some really easy to get trophies that I missed, and I'm already on my second playthrough, so it's good. Good times. John, how did you level up?
Well, I leveled up by watching a show on Crave. It is called Star Trek Lower Decks Season 2. And it's not really a spoiler. There's a new member of the crew, and he is a Tamarian. Which is you might know the most famous Tamarian is Darmok. From their legends.
The guys that speak in metaphor.
Yes, and he's like...
Why did it take them so long to figure that
out? So this guy, he tries not to go into metaphors too much, but like whenever he's annoyed, he goes into metaphor. It's pretty great. So I that show's fun. I kind of got panned a bit when it came out.
Where's the second season at? Did it just start? Has it been out
It's on episode 2.
I liked some of the first season, and it's what is it? Is it PG-ish, PG-13ish?
Yeah. There's some like I'd let a tween watch this probably, but I'm not a parent.
That's what my kids are getting. My Connor's 10, but he's I don't know. And but Haley's 12, man. She's right there.
Yeah,
they have Spotify accounts. I don't know.
It's got some like cartoon gore, but nothing crazy. So the other thing I did,
Matt's cat is in the closet with Matt. Do you hear it? What am I supposed to do about this?
What is the cat doing?
Love him, her, love them.
Hello. Put your little head up so they can see you. She's getting in my lap. She fucking never does this. But now she's you can't stand.
Oh, there she is. Oh, look at her.
Kitty.
She loves you.
Yeah.
She's like a little tortoiseshell cat.
Mm-hmm. She's
anyway,
like, what are you doing? Who are you talking to? It must be me. Nobody else is here.
I'd like
keep
to
talking
level
to me.
Fuzzy,
Please
fuzzy,
do.
fuzzy, 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 fuzzy. Look at this fuzzy tummy, though. Oh, you're so cute.
I can't play with my cat's tummy, or else I get claws embedded into my hands.
Well, see, the thing is, I'll play with her for a minute, and then she'll hate me and leave. You're the one that inspired this. I've realized it. Like, when she gets in my face, like, I pick her up. She seems to be okay with it for a minute, but then she gets tired of it when I put her down. She's gone for like 10 minutes. She's like, fuck you.
That's a good way to get rid of a cat.
Don't pick me up.
So,
Don't pick me up.
The other thing I did was on the Nintendo Switch. Have you guys heard about this? The Nintendo Switch?
Yes.
Jay Leno, when did you get here?
Oh, yeah. I want to tell you about the new game that John got on Nintendo Switch. You ever hear of that Ace Attorney series?
Oh, man. I love that game. I love those games. Vanessa, you love those games, right?
Hold on.
I don't think she's ever played them.
I think she has.
I don't think so.
I think so.
I played some, but not all of the first one. Maybe all? I don't recall. Played it on my phone on an aeroplane.
Yeah, the first trilogy came out on on the phone, and it was pretty good. I played it. I didn't finish them all either, but I did play the first two, and they're fun. They're just fun games, man. I would really like that. That's one that stuck in my head for years as like, why isn't there a game like that made by like an American company using like just like pictures instead of like anime?
Oh, there are, Matt. There's
really?
tons of point-and-click adventures from your friends at Law and Order. Google it. You can
Are
play.
there Law and Order like click adventure games?
There absolutely are, and there are CSI ones too.
I really wish for Scare Roots we could play the X-Files game on the PC one that came on like 7 CDs, but it's like impossible to emulate. Apparently.
Oh, really?
Well, it's like you have to have like DOSBox, and there's no legal way of buying it. But it's so
everything gets remastered eventually.
I don't see this. I don't know. I'd love for this to be remastered because it's a horror adventure game with Mulder and Scully, which sounds incredible. Like it's FMV.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll figure out a way of playing this someday. So
you can get from Amazon the Law and Order triple pack, 3 great games in one. Those games are, of course, Law and Order, Dead on the Money, Law and Order, Double or Nothing, and Law and Order, Justice is Served.
I did play one of those like near future lady cop solves a serial killer games. It was called Still Life. It was like one of those weird Euro adventure games for the 2000s.
Honestly,
like
Vanessa, this
Journey.
is what I would do, except for instead of like, why make silly looking computer generated guys? Like, why not just use fucking photos? You know what I mean?
Tea.
The animation in the Great Ace Detective collection, which is what I bought, it's a collection of two Phoenix. Well, okay, they aren't Phoenix, right? They are Ace Attorney games. Sorry, not Ace Detective. And they are set in the turn of the century Japan and also England, where they're getting in a English style criminal system, because Japan like very quickly modernized after its isolationism was defeated by Commodore Perry in real life. And this is sort of about that period of Japan suddenly changing from a feudal system to a modern European style system. And it's really interesting and very silly and funny, as a Ace Detective game should be. So far, I have not done any investigating, which is weird, because that's like a big part of the other ones. But I played this game for 2 or 3 hours, and it's only been courtroom stuff. But I'm sure it will get outside of the courtroom eventually. It's just for the first part, there's reasons why it can't leave the courtroom, and it's a lot of fun. And it's a lot so far. There's quite a bit of stuff about people from England basically being like, "Oh, you filthy barbarians! This is what you call a courtroom," that sort of stuff.
So it's Star Wars?
No, it's like talking about racism and turn of the century stuff. How shitty English people were to like people from England. Anyway, it's neat so far, and I would like to play more. Has anyone not leveled up yet? Matt, how
Hello.
have you leveled up?
How did I level up? Wow, guys, what a great question to ask a guy that I definitely have an important answer for. Oh, you know what? I guess. All right, I guess I got one. Hey, I did start playing a new game called Hades. That's right. Matt's playing Hades. It's a Supergiant game. It's weird because Supergiant games look like they should be right up my alley, but I just don't really ever care for them. I don't know, man. I always try them, and I just don't like them. But I did.
Hey, D's.
But I did decide to give Hades a shot because it is on Game Pass, and again, it looks right up my alley, and it's free, so why not try it? Even though Supergiant has let me down so many times, it's amazing, and I love it, and it's great. And I'll report back when I've finished it in 6 months, because I have 4 other games I have to play for this podcast first. And that's how I leveled up.
We did it. We all leveled up. Let's get into the Cactus Diaries.
Cactuar Diaries, Jim. They're the Cactuar Diaries.
Cactus.
Cactuar.
Yeah, it's a cactus.
Cactuars. Cactuars.
I haven't put in.
Zoom doesn't let you do any of the fun stuff it used to let you do. I can't change your names.
Oh, I can.
Fuck you.
There's also a Criminal Minds video game, as well as CSI and Law and Order. Is there an NCIS video game? Oh boy, there is. Ooh, it was on the Nintendo Wii.
Guys, Vanessa's bullying me.
Who's the guy from?
She's a dream killer. Dream
the
killer.
guy with the eyebrows?
Cactuar log.
The
Hey,
cactuar.
Brett, we have another mission where Diddle decides he doesn't want to be alive anymore.
Yeah, great. Diddle's a great character. This is the final Diddle mission, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Diddle's the most iconic video game character I've ever encountered.
I want him on my tattoo. The sleeve of bad video game characters, along with like Puff Puff and Pico and Jupas Tuki. I just want that sleeve of weird characters on one side, and then characters I like on the other.
I think it's a great idea, and I think it's a real pity that Jim finished his sleeve before we found Diddle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I actually
That's
love
true.
that idea. Diddle, Jupus.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the fucking creep from Grandia?
Grandia. Grandia had a creep? Oh, Puff Puff was the weird bow-looking creature that was attached to Sue's head.
Was she a
And
bow?
controlling-
Oh, she was. She did look like a bow. Yeah.
It was controlling.
Oh, what about that
Sue's
terrible
thoughts.
onion? You should get
Its
him.
name
Yeah,
was
it's Pico.
Puffy.
Oh,
Wait, what game was the onion from? Why do I remember
Breath
that?
of Fire 3.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
what was the name of the dog? Poshul. Poshul's
What was
got
the
a
name of the dog man?
Yeah.
What was the name of the dog man in Rogue Galaxy?
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah.
Dog Man?
Oh, Digo? No, he's great.
Diego.
Oh, it's it's
Diego.
it's a NCIS lady, but in pixel form.
God.
Oh wow.
She's
All right.
so cool.
Let's get on with the show that we are on. Diddle gets kidnapped. Diddle got kidnapped.
Diddle, yeah, they took his body. John is showing us pixel Jerry Orbach.
He's not enjoying this.
Okay, so they removed Diddle's tadpole body from his little cart, which is horrifying to know that one of the dud bears is carrying just a slimy Diddle creature in its arms.
And
Well-
you know how Matt had talked about how they're led by an actual dog dressed in human clothes?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about that, but then I played it. I was like, oh no, Matt's totally right.
Yeah.
That is 100% who is
Yeah.
leading them.
I'll tell you what we were not right about. Diddle is not an abomination record player monster. He is just a tadpole in like a wheelchair.
Yeah, we figured
Yeah.
that out eventually.
Whoopsie.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Well, but
I didn't.
in
I
our
think
defense, in the legend, I think was it the Legend of Mana wiki, they do say that it is a anthropomorphic record player, but they are incorrect.
Yeah,
they
they're
are.
wrong.
Yeah, he's a tadpole.
You heard it here first. That wiki sucks.
So first this dud bear comes along and yanks Diddle out of his record player, and then another dud bear appears and takes the record player as like an afterthought.
Yeah, I got a little lost here. I didn't catch why they needed Diddle. Something like he can make music that makes monsters fall asleep? Is that what's going on?
Well, Diddle had been talking to Capella about how he was unhappy because he just wanted to make people happy in the world. And have like some kind of positive impact.
Well, he doesn't say, I'm unhappy. He says, I don't want to be alive anymore.
Well, Jim, he doesn't say, I don't want to be alive anymore. He just kind of says, I don't want to be around anymore.
And then Capella reminds him, if you say that, then you're going to get dragged to the underworld again. And he's like, oh, well, I don't want that either. I just want to make people happy.
And then he gets, like, napped by some dud
Dud
bears.
bears, yeah. I love dud bears, guys. Like, the dud bears are up there.
I love how racist the penguins are against the dud bears. Like, one of the penguins has a line of dialogue that is, the dud bears know only greed.
Oh no!
Which they've seemed fine in the past
Well,
when we were selling them
yeah.
lamps and things.
But they're led by this guy, Roger, who's clearly a bad guy, like a human, who's clearly, like, not a good guy. So really, it's not the dud bears. They're just kind of dopey bear men, and they're led around by the nose by this Roger dude.
What is Roger just like a human? Like a
Yeah, he's like
long arms?
a muscular human.
Yeah, he's got a loincloth and a turban on.
It's like one of those fuzzy hats they wear in like Russia.
Maybe. Anyway,
So why did they kidnap Diddle?
They kidnapped Diddle because they wanted to play music to like put the monsters to sleep or some shit. I don't know. And then it doesn't work, and everybody runs, and you have to fight a chimera. The end.
And yeah, then there's really no resolution to it because like it cuts to like Diddle and Capella, and Capella's like, "Wow, everybody ran away. We're safe now." And then Diddle says something, and then they go, "Oh, Diddle," and that's it.
I think Diddle was like looking forward to being useful to these dud bears, but he wasn't useful. He's just a Diddle.
Yeah.
I think Diddle kind of sucks.
I think they thought Diddle was magic, but Diddle was not magic.
No.
So yeah, Roger. I like that Roger's he shows up a lot as your kind of nemesis.
In this chunker,
in
yeah.
this chunker.
Like he's in like 3 missions.
He's pretty great. So after Diddle gets kidnapped, I loved watching Diddle get kidnapped too. He just gets picked up by the dead bears. I think they were intending to use him as labor, but didn't realize he doesn't have legs and won't be a good miner. That was my impression. But maybe he was also going to play music, but they left his music box at the park. So I don't know. But I love this event. It made me laugh. And Diddle was like, I guess he's one of those people who really like does well in the army because he likes, a clear chain of command and having achievable goals. He doesn't like the sort of bohemian life that Capella is pushing him into.
I guess that's true.
I don't really know what to say to that. That's a deep insight into Diddle.
It is.
I think it's true though that Diddle doesn't like unstructured existence and wants to be useful, and Capella's like, no. I think it's the next one where Roger calls you a nosy so and so, and that is great. What's the next chunker? Let me see.
Yeah, the next is the Penguin Arc, really. They were all kind of sequential. So.
I did do these out of order because the guide I was using had wrong directions for getting... So basically, the Penguin ship, the SS Buccaneer, I think it's called.
Yeah.
It operates on a grid you can't see. And so different events happen if you navigate the boat on this grid. And that's why, like, I randomly ended up at the Nordic Snowfield instead of the treasure map one, because the directions, for whatever reason, there's like no good maps online for this game. I was like,
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it's super weird. Like, this is it's not the most popular game, but it's not obscure.
Yeah,
it's not Resonance of Fate. It's not one of those super obscure like tank games or whatever, like the ones that Matt Jurgensen likes. You know what I'm talking about? Metal.
Yeah, like World of Tanks.
Mighty Max. Metal Max.
The weirdest thing to me is not the tank games, it's like the construction site vehicle games. Y'all seen those?
Well, the tank games are RPGs, though.
Oh. Where you're a tank?
Yeah, it's like you build tanks.
Couple of notes here. That's the Metal Max series, and they are like JRPGs, but where you have a tank, kind of like as like your weapon and as like that you move around in.
Is it an anthropomorphic tank?
Are you the tank?
No, you're a guy named
Can
Max.
you date the tank?
Probably.
John,
what were you saying before the Metal Max thing? Because it was driving me crazy. I had something I had to say.
Oh, weird, obscure games. Oh, that there's no maps. Maybe in that guide.
Oh, the maps are terrible. I said this back in episode 1, motherfuckers. The maps to try and find maps is a nightmare. But I'll tell you what, I gave you the best resource already, and it was that link to that Internet Archive copy of the guide for this game, and it does have like breakdowns of each area. And like a map at the very end, and that's what you should use, and it works pretty well. But I also it's kind of, even that's kind of hard to read, and I do get lost like a motherfucker in this game.
Yeah. I think the worst one are the caves by the Gatto Grottos. For whatever reason, I'm pretty good at navigating all the other ones, but the Gatto Grottos one, I can't make heads or tails.
The Gatto, the Ascension Caves. There's a chunker. There's an event later on in this episode that we do that I didn't finish, that I just gave up on because it was you had to find something that's got to grow. I spent an hour in it, and I just said, you know what? I gotta finish. I gotta finish the game so that I can record this episode. So anyway,
Treasure map.
what's next?
The treasure map is a SS Buccaneer
Penguin
mission.
time.
It is Pingling time.
So I just want to point out that
one last call for waterfall.
coming up here, we've got 3 events: treasure map, Nordic Snowfield, and buried treasure in a row. And these are the last 3 of the Penguin Arc. So
These arcs aren't satisfying.
I
I
just-
get.
I just want to say up front, like I think that we don't need to really get talk about the walking back and forth and stuff because this is all one arc. So let's just talk about the meat of each of these 3 things. So what happens in the treasure map?
Well,
And
there's
I'm sorry,
no more
Jim. What were you saying?
Valerie and Dennis, or not Valerie and David. We did not get a
Yeah, we're
closure
done
on
with
that
them.
one.
Oh, yeah.
So these are done by going onto the SS Buccaneer and going to see Ram Tiger, the helmsman, and you can give him directions. And if you give him, I don't know how you would ever figure this out, but if you give him specific directions, like northeast, something will happen, an event will happen. A penguin will slide in on its belly and tell you that something's happened and you have to go see the penguin, and a cutscene takes you to see the captain, who basically will drop you off somewhere. This is going to happen 2 more times. Will drop you off somewhere, and you'll have to go basically to the boss area and find it. So the first one, we go to Mekiv Caverns.
Yes.
And
no,
this one
wait.
you have to
I thought that
be-
was the beach.
No, that's the first one. The first one you go to the caverns because that's where you have to get all the pieces of the map from the Dead Bears, right?
Oh, right. And that's where you do find the poetry book, right?
Roger's poetry book.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved this.
You can actually fail this event. Yeah, you have to chase down these dud bears, and you just have to hit them. Unfortunately, the controls are not very tight. You'd think for a remaster that the controls would be much tighter than they are, but they're very loose and crappy, and it is sometimes very tough to hit the right point to catch the dud bear. So I was a little frustrated by this because you can fail it. Did anybody fail the mission?
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
What
Vanessa
happens if you
did.
fail?
Did you have to load a save?
Yeah, essentially this who is it? Roger, I guess, comes in and finds one of the penguins and is like, I'm gonna take this stupid flappy thing, and the penguin's like, that's my wing, and he's like, I'm gonna take it right off, and the penguin's like, no, and then everyone runs away. And then the captain's just like, we didn't find the treasure this time. Oh, I didn't have to load a save. I just had to navigate back to that same place.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Oh.
That makes it easy, nice and easy.
I do like, so when you get there, one of the penguins is like, oh, here's a treasure map to some buried treasure. I'm very excited about this. And then he just gets rushed by a whole bunch of dub bears, and they do tear apart his map. And that is why you have to find all the pieces. You have to get ones from each of the dud bears. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I
it's
liked it. Yeah, the controls are a little loose. It's not the best playing game, and sometimes when you're trying to catch things, this happens a bunch of times in this game, and you're hammering on the A button, and sometimes it responds properly and sometimes it doesn't, and it's random which way it goes.
It can be very frustrating. I have the same problem picking fruit, where sometimes you just cannot seem to step in the right spot, and it really can get frustrating.
The Nordic Snowfield part of the arc, I'm trying to remember, what was that one about? Is that oh god, that was the ferry mini game. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this one takes you to Feig snowfields, and
So you remember how we got that spell cast on us and we could see some fairies?
yeah,
Yeah.
And so this sort of picks up from that. This is sort of half penguin arc, half fairy arc, right?
It sucks super bad.
So in this one, you're walking around and you run into fairies, and they'll cast spells on you if you have a certain fairy level. Not if you're too much fairy, then they will not cast it on you. And if you're too little, then they won't. And it's sort of a game of finding the right ones who will respond to you and keep raising you because you want to get to the ultimate fairy level. All right, there's nothing there's nothing gay about ballet. Now here, you can be a fairy or you could be a queen. The choice is wide open.
What? Who are you responding to?
The voices in his head, I believe.
What just happened?
I was just thinking of a funny joke from the TV show called The Simpsons.
That was fun. Yeah, this is a fun mini game that I loved and didn't fuck up.
It's not great, especially the last.
I don't know. It's a puzzle. It's not a bad puzzle. It does make sense. You can figure it out. They tell you.
Except for the last part.
Oh my.
What
My television just turned on all by itself.
Oh, ghosts.
Oh, it's the ring.
What?
It's Samara.
It's the ring. It's Samara.
Yeah, these fairies. There's one fairy at the very end where you have a 1 in 3 chance of getting it right. And
That's not good.
Game over.
You can save scum because of the remaster. You can save scum. So I have gotten very save scummy with these final episodes because I do not want to have to redo anything.
I haven't had too much of a problem, but yeah, this one I did. It took, and because they move around, and all 3 of them look identical. There's no clues. There's no there's no way to think this through. It's just make sure you talk to the right one, and it can take you more than 3 tries because they're wandering around each other.
One of the fairies at one point tells you that this was all just a game in order for you to inevitably fail at the end. It's like that's we just all wanted to be amused by you failing in the final phase. It's like, man,
wow.
fuck you.
But after you pick the right one, they're like, we're kidding.
There is one not at the final phase, but just out in the world that you, if you will, when you talk to you, says like, "Ooh, do you want me to cast a spell on you?" And if you say yes, it does reduce you back to 0. And it's like, haha, fuck you. They hate us. So.
Well, they're pretty clear in their hatred of human. It reminds me of Jigsaw, the famous serial killer, who always does want to play a game, but I just don't feel like he plays fair.
One of the
I like how
kids
he's
asked
like,
me the other day what Saw was, and I was like, "What? Why are you asking me that?"
You see, I feel like Jigsaw doesn't think through because he says, "I don't actually kill anyone. I just make them." Put them in situations where they have to like tough it out to survive. Like,
then they'll appreciate their life more.
But then why does he kill like 20 cops at the beginning of Saw 3? Like they were going through puzzles, they just die.
Did you? So what you're saying is you watched Saw 3? Like, boo on you. What are you thinking?
I've only ever seen the first Saw movie, but I know about the rest of them, and they all sound so absurd. And plus, I don't like torture porn films.
Spiral's
They
out
gross me
now
out.
too, right? Spiral's out, I believe. So that's.
Spiral's been out for a while.
I don't think it's a while, but I think it came out this year.
Yeah,
like April or May.
So that's the latest in the Saw saga, I believe. I think it's is it a reboot?
It's like a
prequel?
reboot. It's a reboot. No, it's a sequel.
Oh.
Jigsaw's problem is mission drift, and it's something that everyone needs to be on the lookout for.
Particularly the Square Roots podcast. Speaking of, we do the fairies, right? We eventually figure out you talk to the right one. And
I like that the captain, does he give you a crab at the end of each mission?
Yes.
Is that?
He gives you a piece of iron.
But
Well,
it's
he
delivered
does it. That's
by
at the
crab.
end one. Yeah, he gives you the stuff, but like a crab walks it over to you, and the crab like runs to your side.
Anyway, that's it for that event, and then it all happens one more time. And this time we go to Medora Beach.
Yeah, this is our bartering mission.
Oh boy, this felt like a real Sierra game.
I like this. I save scummed it, but I managed to make it.
Yeah, you start out, the captain gives you like 15
Halo
special
coins.
coins.
Halo coins,
Yeah.
to give to the Dud Bears because...
Do you think they have Master Chief on them?
I'm gonna say Cortana.
You think they have Cortana on one side, Master Chief on the other, maybe?
Maybe.
Master Chief is just a guy.
Or maybe
He
like
doesn't
the
deserve to
Halo
be
on one
currency.
side.
But they would.
Huh?
They
Dude.
Who, the
Isn't
Master
he even
Chief?
like a robot?
No, he's not a robot. He's a Spartan.
He's
He's a
a
second-generation
clone, though, or
Spartan
something.
soldier.
Oh, who cares? All that matters is the cool helmet.
I've played a lot of these Halo games.
I mean, who hasn't? They're fucking great games. I can't
Yeah,
wait for the
they
new
are.
one to come out on the Xbox. Like, come out.
I never played 4 or 5. Anyway, so Beachy Times. They I guess probably. So this is the one where you got to barter. So you get these. They're like, well, these dub bears. They're so greedy. So
They
here's
give you plenty of
15
coins, though.
coins, and yeah, you only
Listen.
need. I had 7 at the end, so it's definitely you
Yeah.
can screw up a couple of times, and it's fine. It's fine.
It's not tough. You have to on the first screen you have to find the right dud bear to give a coin to, and the dud bears will move out of your way. And on the second screen you have to find the right dud bear to trade a coin with to get a little bottle and give that to the dud bear that's in your way, and he'll get
love
out of
that
your
it's
way.
called
And on
Little
the third
Bottle, too.
screen you'll have to find the right dud bear to trade a little bottle for a puka shell and give it to the right dud bear to get out of the way. And then on the fourth screen, this is what fucked me up. On the fourth screen, you have to find the right dud bear to trade for a little bottle for a puka shell to get the right dud bear out of the way. And you would think that on the last one there would be a next step, but there's not. It just repeats. But anyway, but you have plenty of coins, and then if you have enough left, you can give one to them at the end. I don't know what happens to you if you don't. If you don't. But I
don't know.
did, and they were nice, and they let me go. And the captain said thanks, and that was fucking it. The end for the Penguins. There's no big ending for them.
Is this? But there was one more after this one, wasn't there?
No, that's
no,
it.
that's it.
That's it.
Oh.
At
What-
the end of every one of these sea missions, the captain says to me, "You're a real man of the sea now." And then one of the penguins goes, "That's a girl."
Yeah, I love how weird they are. Is this what a real man of the sea would do? Because the other guy, it's like second in command, really wants to be a man of the sea, but the walrus is very, very choosy about who he's gatekeeping.
He's a
who can
dandy,
Be.
he says.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they
lives
do
the
also call him a
dandy life.
dandy.
I did
Yeah.
Google. I think Googled that because I was kind of curious, and it was like a man who is very fancy and lives by a very fancy lifestyle,
Yeah,
and
sort of the opposite of a man of the sea. I'm
no,
saying.
it definitely could be a dandy. Definitely could be a dandy man of the sea. I think, for
I suppose
sure.
you can. That's true.
For sure. And that is what the Jack Sparrow and the Captain Hooks. That's what the basis for the flamboyant pirate is the dandy pirate, right?
Yes, you're absolutely correct. I was thinking only of rough and tough sailors with their calloused hands climbing up and down the mast.
And that's what the
all day
penguins are, but
long.
the captain is dandy. Is the
I
dandy.
see. He's a
I,
sort of
I
a...
think it's fun.
Like a swashbuckler
I
type.
like their weird back and forth with the dud bears. I wish it had not been framed so much as a racist thing.
Yeah,
But I don't think that
they-
the intent was there to be a
No.
racist thing so much as just they're like gangs. They're
Yeah.
they're like rival gangs.
Yeah.
Yeah. This game has so much charm, and I really hope that didn't it get announced when this came out that they're also releasing a series about this game?
Yes, there will be an
Yeah.
animated.
It'll
I
be
have
on
to tell you,
Net-
after
it'll be
finally
on
playing
Netflix,
it,
right?
after playing it, and I haven't finished the Jumi quest yet, but I finished all of this stuff, so I've only got one quest to go here, guys. And I can see how this could be a really fun show if it just kind of
I think
covered
so,
all
too.
these in different episodes. Different episodes would focus on different arcs, and you could have silly episodes, and you could have serious episodes, and and one season could cover each one and kind of be a nice, tight, fun piece of television. I'm looking forward to that.
So I usually bring along Butter Lisa, although I did find out that you can just go to L's
Butter
Lighthouse and
Lisa.
Bud or Lisa.
Butter Lisa.
That is what I heard too. Butter
Sorry.
Lisa.
Bud, comma, or Lisa. But you can also get L, one of
Butter
the
Lisa, and I'm
sirens.
sweet as butter and smooth as it too.
You can also get
Squidward's character, Butter,
Butter
Lisa.
Lisa.
That's probably
Does anyone want some butter? That's what I'm here for, to get everyone enough butter. Sweetie, do you have enough butter?
Butter, dear, it's me, Le Petit More. And can you just do a refill on table 5 for me, please?
I'm just going to pour their cups full of butter, sweetie.
Oh, well, I was thinking coffee, but sure, you know what? You go, you do you.
I also
Butter
found
Lisa.
you can
Hashtag Butter Lisa.
you can get what's it, Sierra, Lark's sister. But you have to go through like 5 or no more than that, like 6 or 7 screens of the I think the White Forest to get to her, but she can join your party and she's really good. And also, I should mention, if the time is right, and by this I mean, you know those weird pie charts? They look like when you go outside of a land piece and there's like circles and some of them have little Trivial Pursuit wedges in them. Each one's next to a different element. Like one of
Yes, I do know what you're talking about. Amazingly enough.
So, there's a few different named monsters that you can get if it has the right criteria, and it has a full set of 3 pie pieces for a certain element. They will show up as recruitable characters, and Vanessa has found one.
I have indeed. I found a Major Mallard. He is a duck who wears a helmet, and he poops eggs that explode.
Whoa, cool.
Yeah, they're pretty great. And when they explode, sometimes they explode in like a confetti of little Major Mallard heads.
I have found it's like a Yeti called Fernando. I found him in the junkyard, and I found a tomato man named Mucho as my named characters. And so I've been
great.
leveling up Mucho because he's just right up at the beginning of the Norn Peaks at this point in the game. So if you just go there, you can recruit him as long as you have a free slot. You can only have 5 pets total. And these named characters, they're called demi-humans, do count.
I found a couple of these guys as well, actually.
Who did you get?
Okay, well, I didn't get either of them because
All right.
I had my golem with me. Who I always have my golem with me. He's my best friend, and I like him a lot. He's my best friend. I'm on my 12th golem, and this one is a shotgun golem. I don't know that I like him more than I like the chainsaw golem. Actually, I might go back to the chainsaw golem. His stats actually are a little bit lower. But I wanted to see how that chainsaw action worked. But I don't think I like it as much. I think that the chainsaw golem had better abilities. I think they both had acid beam, which is amazing. It's one of my favorite ones to like put down in like your far away high gauge area to like really blast the field with a big beam of acid. Mm-hmm. And I like to have, when you're up close, I like to either have them doing like some physical attacks or maybe like some defensive stuff like hovering out of the way or dropping. I have my chainsaw golem has 2 great moves. One, he jumps into the air, he floats into the air, and like a helicopter pops out of his head, and he floats into the air and he drops a bomb, and it drops like a giant Bomberman style cross bomb,
Oh,
T-bomb.
nice.
And it does and that one I use when they're close because he drops it right below himself and it just blows everybody away. And he's got one called Doppelganger where he does the same thing. He flies up into the air, but then he drops a bunch of little like eggs, and they all crack open and tiny versions of himself pop out, and they're all like
Just like my duck.
Yes, he is like purple. He's like bubblicious bubblegum purple. He's a great color, like grape bubblicious purple, and like
space.
All of these little grape-colored bubbles
deep,
fall out of him, and then they all pop open, and these tiny little golems all spread out and explode on whatever they touch. So that's a great move as well.
That blows you away.
So yeah, I've really gotten deep into the golems. They're fucking fun. There's a bunch of different types, and like you can experiment. And really, it's not just the types. Like all my golems, I barely even use that many of the type weapons. Like, this one has chainsaw, this one has shotgun. I don't have a lot of that in there. I have a lot of like special abilities like acid beam and doppelganger and double bits where 2 balls fly out and zing, 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 everything on the field with lasers. It's super fun. It's like a little turret. That's what your golem is. It's a little turret because it doesn't move around the field killing things. It just sits in the back, and if things come near it, it obliterates them.
My Tomato Man does spit fire at people. It's pretty great.
No, I know that the monsters are cool too. I'm sorry, I got way off track. I did find 2. One of them I found in the jungle, I think, and it was a raccoon man, one of those
a Chobin Hood.
A Chobin Hood.
Oh,
he
yeah,
was named, and he offered to come with me. And then there was also like a over in one of the swampy areas. There was a harpy woman that wanted to join, and she had like one of the with the fish fin flappy ears and like the long purple hair. But again, I had my golem, and honestly, it wouldn't even like you would think it at least it would say like, "Oh, do you want to send your golem home?" And no.
Yeah, it just says you can't recruit because you have like a monster in your party already.
So that was really frustrating for me because that I could not recruit them. And if you go home and drop your golem off, guess what? When you get back, those 3 little things are gone. So they are gone. Not that it's hard to circle around something and get it to where you want.
Hi, excuse me. I'd like to issue a correction. The name of my duck is not Major Mallard. His name is Captain DeYang. And he is a mad mallard.
That's fun. I named some of my golems. I had Bim. I had Porky. That one was named after John's cat. But then now I'm on Golem 12. I stopped naming them. Because I have hit the point where I figured it out. Like you make a new one with better stats, and all the other ones can fuck off. Like the one with the best stats is the one you're keeping. It's got the most HP.
Name them.
Yeah, but I was going through them too fast for a while. So
like I just sold Slime Nessa to the monster lady. So
I should name my purple one Grape Ape. That's what I'll do because I think that's the one I'm going to go back to. He's just so like it's so funny because now I guess I should save talking about my super spear for my punishment corner since I already blew all of my golem talk.
Has anybody seen a dog dyed dark green, about 2 inches tall, with a strawberry blonde fall? Sunglasses and a bonnet, and designer jeans with appliques on it.
Well, the good news is the next 3 events are all part of the same arc as well. This is the Gilbert Arc, and this is going to finish out the Gilbert Arc. Gilbert, you may remember from early in the game, he is a centaur.
I prefer to think of him as Gilbert.
He's a horseman. He did fall very quickly in love with the harpy that ran the lamp shop in Lumina, and then got dumped or did the dumping. I'm not quite sure.
I was trying to figure out through this.
He dumped.
Through this chunker, whether or not Gilbert, not looks wise, because we know from discussing that Adam Driver centaur that Vanessa's not really into centaurs, but just in terms of his personality, would this be a pro or con for Vanessa? Because he does give women lots of attention, but which I think like the supplicant nature of that Vanessa would like. But
all right, well,
he does go hot and cold.
Yeah, let's find out as we go through it and not front load it.
Okay.
So the Gilbert Arc. Gilbert is the horseman, the centaur from earlier on in the series. He loves harpies.
Adam Driver. Adam Driver. Yeah.
He's Adam Driver, and he loves harpies, and we're going to deal with his little escapades in love, and they're quite bizarre. This is a bit much, if I'm being honest.
It's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's a little uncomfortable. So let's go ahead and talk about it. The first one is Love is Blind. You have to go pick up Ellie from the lighthouse at Medora Beach and take her to meet Gilbert at the restaurant.
Right.
In Popata Harbor.
I did do this, and this is a lot of fun because
Nobody was questioning whether or not you did it, John.
Gilbert or Gilbert does have a history with sirens. You'll remember his ex-girlfriend, Monique, who did dump him because he did not respect her choice of wanting to run a business and not just be a housewife.
Oh, is this just Brian Davis Gilbert?
Yeah.
Okay, I get it now.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever actually seen his legs? He might actually be half horse and we just didn't know it.
That's true.
Oh
as
no,
far
he
as
did
I
have that
know-
video about his shorts. So
His legs are in
Yeah,
clear view
but
in many of his
he's
videos.
famous for using green screen.
that is true.
And if I
Is he
were a centaur,
famous for using green screen? I mean, he's not famous, really. And B, he's not famous for using green screen. He's like semi-famous for doing videos about nerdy stuff. They happen to be on green screen.
Well, he
I
doesn't
just
do that
looked it
anymore.
up on the Wikipedia, and
Yeah,
it
whatever.
says pioneer of green screen, Brian Davis Gilbert, famous
Okay.
for use of green screen.
Okay. What
So you're
does he
saying
do
that
now?
he could be a centaur, or he could have at one point gone into the sea with a centaur and then come out and gone into the sea with a horse and come out and been a centaur.
Yeah, if you go into the sea with a centaur, nothing's going to happen. You
Right.
can't-
Why?
Because
Well,
there'd be two people on a horse.
yeah. You can't put two people on a horse. The back can't bear it.
So, but if you go into the sea with a horse,
Then you'll come out a centaur.
yeah, which that documentary by Hermes proved.
Mhm.
You know,
Really
when they
looking forward to its Oscar win for Best Short Dog.
Yeah, me too. Oh boy. And so yeah, Brian David Gilbert is, and he really does, like, he's got the hair and everything too.
That's what I'm saying.
At least give him a pun name, for God's sake.
Okay, how about Brian
No, that's a
David
donkey.
Horse?
Not Brain, Brain. Brain.
Well,
Yeah, like Brian.
yeah, braying like a
Yeah, like
a
a
donkey
braying-
does.
I'm sure a horse.
Oh, is
can
that what you
bray.
meant? I thought
Yes.
you were just transposing the letters in the name Brian, and you were gonna just say Brain.
No.
There's a guy that I work with who we have a VP at the company I work for whose name is Brian. It's a guy
Brian
that
Dayhoof Gilhorse.
and like
Yes.
every one of his emails he puts thanks Brain. It's like why do you do that?
Brian Davis. No, wait. Brian Dayhoof Gilhorse.
Gilhorse. Yeah.
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 Brian
Yeah.
Dayhoof Gilhorse. A beautiful, elegant pun.
Mhm.
No, not tortured.
Nope.
Not over.
I hope you guys don't say that every time you reference a character.
So you do go to the Polpata Harbor. They call it in the same guide. They call this a restaurant. They call it a bar. They call it a cafe. But they're all the same place. It does have a bartender, because there's also a cafe, which is a different place. So I don't know.
Where the
but-
basket fish hangs out.
Yeah, exactly.
There's that one place too that has a puzzle piece man as the bartender.
Oh, right. I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the restaurant. Never mind. I'm confused about the Puzzle Piece Man place. But
Yeah.
you go there and you talk to Gilbert, and he's like, "Wow, you look just like my ex-girlfriend." I gotta say, not the best opening.
No, it's not. I mean, yeah, I really don't see how that works out. Because then it's like, oh, are you just still hung up on her?
Yeah.
Are you always going to be comparing me to her? Although I
He
suppose
already
that's
did. I mean, that's
natural.
how that was his opener.
That's
Yeah.
true.
You know,
I like how sassy the mermaid lady is.
he is a centaur man, and we do not see any centaur women. And I wonder if Harpy is just as close as it gets. You know, maybe that's his thing. Maybe
Yeah,
it's not like a
because-
sexual. Maybe it's not like a like a fetish? Maybe it's like a
It seems kind of fetishy.
biological necessity. Like maybe he has to sleep with centaurs if he wants to breed.
Harpy is formed when a
Harpy, I
woman
mean.
goes into the ocean with a chicken. And,
Okay, but what happens when a woman who is a harpy is inseminated by a man who is a horse?
Oh. Huh.
You know, that's a question I've been asked a lot over these years.
It is.
That's the kind of question that can only be answered by our friends over at Bad Dragon. Sponsor our show.
I think they shut down. We're not friends with them anymore.
Oh, jeez.
I bet they have a lot of overstock dildos. So they could probably share some of those.
So she pretty much flatly
send him Jim's way, I guess.
because Elle was just super excited to get out. She wants to see the world. She wants to try walking on the, what do you call them? Feet?
Mm-hmm.
And she's a little nervous.
Wings, you don't get too far.
She's the one who.
Why do some harpies have wing heads and some harpies have plant bodies?
I don't know.
This
Well,
doesn't
when a
make lot of
woman and a
sense.
plant go into the ocean,
So she's very nervous because she doesn't want to sing anymore, in spite of her friend Flamshy telling her she should be singing all the time. Because Flamshy's like, fuck all those sailors.
She's
Yeah,
a
it's like the
fucking
humans are
sociopath.
Yep.
Like, the humans are stupid. We were here first. We can sing wherever we want. Who cares if they die? They're just trying to make up the rules now about our oceans. And there's like a big rant here.
So you go back and because basically she was scared off by Gilbert. She's like, is this what the world's like? I hate it. And so she goes back and you can be like, oh, come on, come out with me again. It won't be so bad this time. And she's like, oh, I don't know. But then if you
Well,
go
that's
outside.
not how I read any of this, by the way. Definitely. My take was certainly like, ooh, this handsome man. I have to go back to my nest and roost for a little while. And then you go back and you're like, you ready to go see him again? And she's like, yes.
Well, you know that men do often think that women are far more interested in them than they actually are. So you two go outside, and Gilbert is waiting outside to nab her.
Yeah, he when it's really creepy how quickly he moves across the screen to these women. He like zips from one into the other, and it's very scary.
And he also uses, again, not the best tactic to Flam. She's like, whoa, a mermaid. You know, if I wasn't with her,
Yeah,
I'd
he's
be
like,
all...
if I had a copy of myself, I'd be in love twice.
But he's like, sorry, baby, I'm with her now. And then he's like, let's go for a little boat ride. See that boat in the horizon? We're going on there. And she's like, I don't want to be on boats. I'm bad for boats. But you get there, and I guess just her being on there does manage to. Is this where he encourages her to sing, and the boat starts exploding?
yes, and then that summons some sort of monster that you have.
Yeah,
like
big
a-
old orc.
The shark octopus thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Or orc. I guess.
Yeah, it says orc in the guide. This guide's not very good. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's like fight the orc, and it's like clearly a shark, and you're just like, all right.
So she's like, oh, I shouldn't sing because it sinks ships, and he's like, no, your voice is too beautiful to be held back. I mean, that's one of the things I love about you is your amazing singing voice that I haven't heard yet. And he's like, just sing a little bit. She's like, are you sure it'll be okay? He's like, yeah, don't worry about it, it's fine. And so she starts singing, and the ship just starts exploding. It just starts
Just a
exploding
little bit.
everywhere.
It just explodes a little.
But this is when Dandy Captain steps in, and the penguins are like freaking out, and the captain's just like, I love music. Let's have more. And the penguins are like, our ship is exploding, and there's a breach in the poop deck, and he's like, well, patch it up. And he's
Well,
like,
he's
really
like, isn't there
encouraging her.
isn't there a breach in the poop deck every day? And they go, yeah. And he goes, okay, so go patch it up. Like, what do you what's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
There's a where is it that one second there? She says something very sassy about the penguins. I just find that because that was great. Where is it?
But it is definitely, the place is exploding. So I don't know what. This is a really weird scene because it goes on for a while.
It
And
does.
the captain continues to be like, I don't give a shit. I'd rather die than let this beautiful bird not be free to be unvaccinated.
One of my favorite lines is he's like, "We're all like sea creatures anyway." He's like, "I'm a walrus, so if I go back in the water, it's fine."
Yeah, you're penguins.
Yeah.
And also the motivation here too is that the walrus really wants to capture Gilbert and sell him because they think that will make them instant millionaires.
Yeah, he says the guy got a buyer all lined up. Don't worry about it at all.
Vanessa, I do have some of the lines that Gilbert uses to on L. Can you tell me how?
Yes.
I just want to see how, like, for each line. Let me know how it worked. Give it
Okay.
a rating.
All right.
Okay. Your eyes are deep as holes. Your lips lush as fruit. What do you think? Okay. I feel like I've known you for eternity. Have you come to deliver me your love? Okay, that's a double chuckle, so that's good.
Chuckle.
Goodbye is
Whoa,
really hello
Chuckle.
to the beginning
That's
of
a
true
womanly titter.
love. The wind will carry the lovers' hearts to the sea.
Eh.
We shall sail into an ocean of love.
She's about to lay an egg.
And oh wow, yeah, I think I am. Yep, she's going into chicken lady mode. And finally, oh, I was born to feel this throbbing in my heart.
Okay, that's the one that did it. I mean, let's be real. Guy walks up to you in the bar, says, "Hey, you strike a throbbing in my heart." That's gonna be it.
Really? I mean, I'm gonna put that in my put that in your notes, gentlemen. If you're single like me, next time you see a woman, just walk up to her and be like, "You strike a throbbing in my heart."
Isn't that one of those things where there's like a 1 in 100 chance that'll work? So you might as well try it 100 times.
Well,
One in 100.
I mean, John, I'm willing to give it a shot once.
So
Here's the thing. If you're super hot, it's probably going to work really well. If you're not super hot, and by super hot, I mean like to the person who you're walking up to.
Yeah,
So, like, Vanessa, would you say I'm super hot?
well,
Matt,
you know
I
that's
don't
an
know how to
uncomfortable
answer that
workplace
Vanessa, would you say
conversation.
I'm super hot? So can I get away with that because I'm super hot? Or can I not get away with it because I'm not super
I
hot?
think it depends.
Vanessa.
Wait, I think Vanessa.
No, Jim, John, hush. Vanessa,
Okay.
it's your turn
Yeah.
to speak.
Okay, so after the ship explodes, then we move on to
You fight fight that weird tentacle monster, and afterwards,
Yeah.
the walrus guy's like, "See, yeah, she can sing if she wants to sing. It's not her. Don't worry about it." And finally,
But the ship was exploding.
I know.
It's just
What-
because it's
what
a
was-
crappy
is-
ship.
Wait, so like.
But it was exploding with fire.
Was it actually her singing that was doing it?
I think so.
Well, when she started singing,
Oh,
balls
okay.
of fire did start
Well,
appearing out of
I
nowhere.
was like, oh no, is that the monster that did that?
Yeah, that's
'Cause
what I
then-
thought, too.
Because like after the penguin or the walrus guy was like, he's like, no ship ever sank because somebody sang a song. It's fine. So it's like, oh, maybe that's not what happened.
But what about those? We saw that cutscene where it did happen to that.
I thought it was
those
more about.
Imperials.
I thought it was more a lesson about how the penguins, how the sailors sink the ship because they lose their cool.
Yeah, that could be true. I also so after this, the final resolution is Gilbert sings a song. Oh, penguins are cranky because they don't have girlfriends.
Yep. This is. I would say. I would rate this in the Gilbert charming department at like a 6 out of 10. Like he's fine. He sings a fun song. He's charming enough, right? Like he's above average charming.
I mean, he's definitely
He's
not
trying. That's not going
a
to work for every girl,
monogamous
but it's going to work
man.
for some of them.
Yeah.
Gilbert
Well, that's
is
fine.
what
He's not in a
you would-
relationship.
You would call Gilbert a love bomber. That is someone who, like, you go on a date with them and they just immediately get way too heavy into it.
Yeah.
And they just kind of, like, suffocate you with how amazing they think you are and how in love they are. And it's not comfortable and it's not good. And usually then they tend to change their mind very quickly. Because
Yeah.
what they are, quote unquote, in love with is just an idea in their head, not an actual person.
Well, probably more what they're in love with, and what I think they tried to make pretty clear with Gilbert, to be honest with you, is that feeling at the beginning of a relationship of that new love, and that, but then very quickly, that particular feeling is very fleeting, and Gilbert likes to move on and experience it again with somebody new, as opposed to building long-term relationships.
You know what? And some people are like that. And as long as you're upfront with whoever it is you're wooing, that's who you are, I think it's okay.
There's actually a
but
term
people
for
don't
it.
always know
isn't-
that
isn't
that's
there?
who they are
Yeah,
as well,
it's
though,
brand
right?
new.
Yeah, there's a
hot
brand new,
term on the
brand
street.
new hot term for that. Yeah.
Which
Is it
is
fuckboy?
No, it's like I mean, well, maybe in practice sometimes, but that like there is. I read an article on it a few weeks ago.
What's
Are
it
you going
called?
to tell us the fucking term?
Yeah, what's the term?
I don't remember.
Fuck you! Find it out! Don't bring it up
Alright.
if you don't remember. Look
Hold
it up.
on.
This show is on pause.
It's like, it's something with an N, I want to say.
I am sitting in a closet, and it is hot. I have too much fucking shit on me.
Why do you have shit on you?
I don't want to be around anymore.
It's killing me. This trend is killing me.
The show is now that there's a man in this. The absolute best is, all right, let's dump it. Let's cut it. Then what's the show?
What does that do for the greater good?
All right. Well, let's move on. To
I didn't think it was funny. I said it was interesting.
let's talk about Gilbert. School Amour.
I still can't find that.
Oh, that's okay.
Fuck
Term.
you.
Yeah, I can't find it.
Fuck.
I don't really know how to phrase it.
I've heard it too, Jim, and I know
New
it exists.
fuckboy term.
Yeah.
So you head to Geo. Geo is a city that you built next to the Mana Tree, probably. It does look a bit like Agrabah. It's got a big old castle in the back.
My geo is in the top left corner.
It's like
Mine
what?
is in the top right corner.
Oh, mine's kind of in the
Wow.
middle. Kind of in the middle of everything. It's like right next to the Mana Tree. Anyway, so it does have
I still haven't been to the Mana Tree.
It's like what? Yeah, neither have I. Or the
Neither have
orchard.
I.
I haven't been to the orchard yet either.
Oh, you can just go there.
Oh, okay.
It's just the same as the one in your home. It's just the second one.
Oh, I was trying to tell you when I was recruiting, I was getting Butter Lisa to join my party. Bud actually got real sick, and I was like, "Oh, this is another mission. I'm not gonna explore what's happening here." He passed out on the floor.
Oh yeah, he's been passed out on my floor for a while, but I've been ignoring him.
Yeah, me too.
He's just dead on my.
I'll
He's
do
a dead
that
kid on
later.
my floor.
So you go to Geo, you head to the bar. Oh, so this is the bar area that the game calls something else. I think it calls it a cafe. And Gilbert is there. As soon as you walk in, you get a little scene with Gilbert and Miss Cathincha, who you might remember as the teacher of all those magic students. So this is like if Agrabah was a university town. So it's really dominated by the university there.
Yeah.
Like those students are everywhere. It's like Manhattan, Kansas.
Yep. That's where I went to college, John.
Mm-hmm. I know. I've been to that college town.
It's really just a college.
We've both been to that milkshake place that your family knew about, apparently.
Oh yeah, the one that's on the highway. Big D's Burger Shack.
No, not that one. There's
Oh,
another
not
one that
that
was
one.
called like Cup and Squeeze or something.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
What are you guys talking about? Big
Talk-
D's Cup and Squeeze?
Yep. This is real narrowcasting at people who have been to Manhattan, Kansas.
Our core audience. Go Jayhawks. Yeah?
Ew, no. gross.
Wildcats, isn't it?
Oh.
Is it Wildcats?
It is.
Yeah.
See, look at my cup. It's a K-State Wildcat.
Yeah.
Well, what's the Jayhawks then?
That's Kansas University.
Well, that's what we're talking about.
No, we're talking about Kansas State University.
Oh my god.
Anyways.
So they're anyway. So we're there in this college town, and Miss Cathinja is like just minding her own business and probably has her headphones in, and Gilbert's like, "Oh, what are you listening to there?"
Mm-hmm.
she's
Gilbert's like,
like-
excuse me, I just had to stop you from listening to your song to tell you how beautiful you are.
And she's like, not interested, no thank you. It's like, well, I just think you and I feel a connection. And she's like, cool. Anyway, and he's like, would you want to be in love with me, perhaps? And she's like, I'm gonna like turn you to stone. I'm like what did she call herself? A gorgon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's a Gorgon.
Yeah, and you will be literally turned to stone. And he's like, oh yeah, you'll make me hard.
That's what he
yikes.
says.
And
Yeah.
this is not us being horny perverts. This is what the game says. He's like, you'll make me like the game really leans into that pun for about the next 20 minutes. There's a whole
Yeah.
lot of hard jokes and about how he's gonna get hard, and she's like,
Even little baby cactus gets in on it.
yep. So unfortunately, she's just not interested. Well, fortunately for her, maybe. But he's like, well, what are you doing? She's like, well, I got to find all my students. I don't have time for you. They're all skipping class. None of them want to be at school. And he's like, if I find them for you, will that help you? And she says, yeah, I guess. So then once again, Gilbert pawns this job off on you.
Mm-hmm.
But this is fun. There's I think like 10 students you have to find, and each one has a different reason for not wanting to be in class, and you have to sort of reason with them until they decide to go back to school. And there's some great reasons to not go to class here.
Like the one who thinks that they are psychic and is pursuing their own course of study.
Or the one, yeah, he's like, what am I thinking of now? And you're like, a marching band? You have to sort of play along with them. At least you get multiple tries here. And this one guy's like, I'm a real bad boy. That's why I'm not going to school. You think I'm a bad boy, don't you? And if you call him a bad boy, he's like, yeah, I am. Then he won't go to school. But if you're like, no, you're not actually a bad boy, he's like, yeah, you're right. I'll go to class.
A lot of these guys, you just kind of need to talk. You just kind of need to say both things to them. That's how I did it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no like wrong answers.
There's someone who's just he feels like the school is teaching the wrong things, and the way that it's dividing elementals is an incorrect way of looking at magic, and it's not sort of compartmentalizing instead of treating each subject as an individual. Like this kid's obviously too smart for the school he's in.
Yeah.
And you're like, just play along. It's fine. You don't need to go to a special school. The school will catch up to you eventually. And he's like, I guess I can deal with this. But this was fun. I think this is my favorite event of the Chunker. What about you guys?
Yeah, it's fun.
It didn't take very long, which is always, I don't know. I mean, I like playing these games, but I also like it when these little chunks are self-contained and short. And not
I don't
like,
mind fun, cute little diversions, and I don't mind little hide and seeks like this. Like, this is always a welcome kind of diversion, as long as it's not annoying, And this one's not bad. Like, it's not hard to find them all. That's kind of always the biggest problem is like, the developers think they're too clever and like, we're going to fucking really hide them. And it's like, yeah, you can because you make the game and you can break the rules and we can't tell. But this doesn't do that. This one's
Did
good.
any of you walk around, was it Miss Kirsten's place, and look at all the weird collection of statues and stuff she has?
Yeah, you have to go there for Nikolo's thing.
Oh, yeah,
later,
that's right.
So,
Oh,
Yeah, we'll
right,
talk
yeah.
about that then.
yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I just took some screenshots of that. I was like, because I'm sure these are references
cool.
to old Final... Because there's a lot of weird little Final Fantasy references throughout the game that I like. And yeah, there's some neat stuff there. So you find all the kids, you go back, and the last kid is the one who will only go back to school once you've convinced all the other kids to go.
Yeah.
And then finally, Gilbert gets to go for a little walk with Miss Kath Ninja, and she's like, you won't give up, will you? And he's like, no, baby. I mean, she's like, I'll turn you to stone. He's like, yeah, do it. Turn me to stone, baby.
Make me hard.
Make
But then at the very end, she's like, I'm going to fucking sell you off like a piece of shit. And he's like, no, baby, it's not sexy if we're not together. I'm so
But he also says,
hard."
make a statue of my gorgeous body, baby.
Oh, yeah.
And he does sing a song for her about how she makes him so hard.
He sure does. At which point she shoots him with her like petrifying laser.
Mm-hmm.
And he is statue now.
Yep.
The end.
And then you go
Well-
home and you tell Little Cactus about it, and Little Cactus says, he got hard?
Try that again with a cutesier voice.
He got hard?
Eee, my skin wanted to leap off of my body.
So you go, next one is Gilbert. Is this going to be resume or resume for love?
I thought it was resume, but I've been job hunting. So.
Yeah. I always think of Homestar Runner coming to I think an interview with Strong Bad, and he doesn't know it's not a job interview. He says, "Here is my resume." I love Homestar. Anyway, you head to the Palace of Arts, which is Christie's place. And here you get to see all these crazy statues and stuff. It's like, is that one Magus? There's one that looks a lot like Magus from Chrono Trigger. I think it might be. There's a lot of like references, I think, here to different characters and things. And there's a downstairs with even more. There's nothing really there, just a whole lot of fun stuff for you to look at. But I don't mind that. I think that's neat.
It's neat to look at fun stuff.
It is. So you go downstairs to that art room, and there is a statue there, and that statue is a Gilbert statue. And if you like interact with it, it does sort of. I guess you can hear the statue's thoughts a little bit.
Yeah.
And the thoughts.
I thought maybe, I couldn't tell, maybe like you could hear like he was a ghost, or maybe he was like telepathic, or
Yeah,
maybe
he's like-
maybe you were just hearing what you would expect to hear from him.
And he's just like, Monique, I'm sorry, you're my true love. All the other dozens of creature ladies were nothing compared to you. I screwed up. That was his thoughts.
I mean, in a way, you know, Gilbert's not a bad guy. Like, he's horny, and he's trying to find the one. And he knows what he likes, and it's monster ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And the monster ladies seem to be into him, you know?
Some of them, a little bit. At least they don't mind the attention, I think.
You gotta wonder how many dudes are knocking on monster ladies' door, you know?
You gotta think a lot. Have you been on the internet?
No. I have not been on that part of the internet because I value my sanity.
There are a lot of guys who want these monster ladies of all sorts of monster types.
You know, John, it's one thing to be a guy on the internet that wants a monster lady, and it's another thing to be a guy in the world who wants a monster lady.
Everybody wants a monster lady in the bed, but they don't want to take her to a fancy restaurant where their boss might see her.
You
Unless
want a
that's their
monster
thing.
lady in the sheets and just a regular lady on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
They just can't handle all that monsterism. So,
Like, you know, it's like Vor. Like that. Like I get that people are into that, but like, haha, Now let's actually put you in somebody's stomach and see how you like it. You know?
No, you can't actually sit in it's a fantasy. That's
Yeah,
why
you also can't
like,
actually fuck a monster woman, John.
What
in
Matt
the
is saying
fantasy
that-
of this world, this man can fuck monster women because he exists there.
Yeah.
He also is a monster.
Are centaurs
we're not
monsters?
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
Haven't you read your Greek mythology? They're horrible. They do not agree with consent.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, famously.
For a minute, I thought she was going to say something. I
Even-
heard like
even,
they do not agree with the Confederacy or something. Like, wait, what?
They are strong unionists, the centaurs.
So are they like is Adam Driver a monster?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a
Oh.
horseman.
Haven't you seen
Okay.
Marriage Story? He's terrible.
All you have to do is flip it around. If it was Adam Driver's body and like a bull's head, would he be a monster? Yes, that's the fucking.
No, he'd
Minotaur.
be a poor, misunderstood prince. The Minotaur was a prince of Crete. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, technically, he was the son of Zeus because Zeus did turn into a bull.
Yeah, he did.
But, his mother was still queen, and that makes him a prince in my book.
I feel like
And in my
modern
heart.
fiction has not explored enough how if a Greek god turns into an animal, its child is an intelligent animal person of the animal it turned into. That right there.
Who's that lady who writes
the
all those that
basis for a
werewolf
fucking
fiction?
series.
Because I feel like she'd write that.
What werewolf fiction?
Oh, I
There's
know what you're talking about. You're talking about Laurel K. Hamilton. Bam!
yeah, yeah. She,
Oh,
I'm
what?
sure she'd
What?
write like sexy stories about Greek mythology like that.
Wow.
Anyway,
I
the
thought
smartest
werewolf
motherfucker
fiction was
alive.
just for, like,
How did
Teens
Matt
on the
pull that
internet.
name? Can I just ask that question, Matt? Where were you able to pull that author's name from?
I
Why
like-
do you know that?
I like urban fiction. I like urban
that's
fantasy.
werewolf fiction. He
I
loves
like
werewolves.
urban fantasy, and that intersects really closely with paranormal romance, which
Yeah.
is
Have
werewolf.
Have
which is
you
werewolf
read
porn.
any of this
I had the
author's
first.
work?
I had the first book. I had the first book in her werewolf
this
porn
isn't
series.
the
but I just,
super Hulock nodding stuff.
It
This
just
is
No,
wasn't in-
Matt goes
it just
into a
wasn't-
Barnes and Noble, and he's
Wait,
like,
what does that mean?
he's
What
like,
is
you got
Hulock
any
nodding?
ABO fic?
I-
Like,
I-
that's what I'm into.
We've talked about Hulock before. We can't do it again. We got to move
Yeah.
on. Finish this episode.
You go to the Elkin Mines, use the Dudbear Express. You start reading Roger's book of poems. He does not appreciate you going
Yeah,
in
this
there
is so stupid.
and reading his poetry. So it starts making the mines rumble. You go read the book again, and Roger's very upset at you reading these. Then you
Yeah,
sort of
he
walk
jumps
around.
up and down and is like causing earthquakes.
You do eventually find that the statue of Gilbert has been moved to the mines for some reason. I'm not sure why.
To prop up the ceiling so it doesn't collapse when Roger throws a tantrum.
Oh, well, that makes sense. And he's still thinking about Monique. So there's only one choice left here, friends. You got to go talk to Monique and be like, hey, is there anything you can do? And she's like, oh, Gilbert was turned to stone. I mean, that's kind of what he wanted, and he sort of deserves it, but he doesn't deserve it. You know, he's not a bad guy. He's just horny.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with being horny.
No.
As long as you're appropriate.
But like he makes his horniness everybody else's problem.
Yeah, that is true. I guess he's got to learn a lesson here, but I think lesson learned, right? He's learned his lesson. So then you talk to Monique, and then you head over to Medora Beach and to the lighthouse, and all the ladies get together and like, well, we don't want him. I mean, he kind of deserves it, but he doesn't deserve it. So let's fix him up. Let's make him back to the nightmare horseman that he is. And you head back. Well, I think, is it Flamshi or Elle that gives her the spell? I think it's Flamshi.
Yeah, I think it is.
Or it might be Miss Cathinja. Someone tells her the spell, and they're like, I'm only going to tell you this once, and you better memorize it. And you head back there, and Monique's got to cast a spell, but she's not very rememberful. So you do have to help her with that. Unfortunately, this translation that we have is a different translation than what all the guides
What
have.
happened?
Yeah, that's why a bunch of the place names are different and like dialogue choices are different. So you help her through this, and fortunately the first translation is not that different from this one, so you can sort of get it.
I got it.
Heavens bless the earth with life-giving showers of rain. The ancient memories of Mother Earth fill our souls with bliss. Know the truth that is the ultimate tower of energy for all. And the spell does bring him back to life, and he's like, hey, I'm real sorry. You're the one for me. And she's like, okay, I like you, and we are friends. I don't want to see you turn to stone, but we're not. Nothing's happening between us. I'm just doing this because you are a friend of mine. He's like, okay. I don't know if this is gonna. That's the end of that. What do you think of this resolution to his storyline?
I don't think that he actually wants to be her friend, and rather than like just grousing about being in the friend zone, he should admit to her that like friendship isn't his goal in their relationship, and he needs to move on.
That's fair. I mean, she can like him as a friend, but maybe her friendship would not be a good thing for him. And maybe he's got to learn about... I mean, it could be good if he can accept that there are complexities to male and female relationships. They don't all have to be romantic or sexual.
Sure, but I think it can be hurtful to like have someone who you think is your friend, and then it turns out they were just like trying to get into your pants the whole time.
Right. That's true. And that is the end of the Gilbert story. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite character, Nikolo.
Yay, the racist rabbit.
Gilbert, I just want to say before we walk away from this that the Gilbert story at the end of the day was a nightmare. I did not enjoy it. The Gilbert story it's a nightmare. I don't appreciate this. Like, it's not, this is kind of like, it was fun. It's kind of fun. Like, there's some fun parts to it. There's some good ideas here, but also it's not good. And thumbs down. Like, I hope that they change this for the anime.
Well, I was thinking about this, actually. I don't want to get too deep into this because I think this is a huge conversation that beyond the scope of our podcast, but it's like, he is a trope of storytelling. Characters acting like this has been a trope for centuries. That doesn't mean it's good, but that it's not the game didn't invent this kind of character. You know, it is a classical sort of type of person in stories and adventures and things like that. And they're always shown to be negative. It's not like they're the hero. Although, I guess with, what's his face in Final Fantasy IX. But that's about him changing, right?
What about Al Calavici?
Is that the guy from Quantum Leap?
That's right.
Yeah, I guess he's one of those. He's one of them types. Always about the ladies. But wasn't that actually because he had like a deep insecurity in the end?
Yeah.
Isn't that what that generally is about, though? Like, that has been my real world experience, is that I don't know a lot of guys that don't know how to, like, operate outside of, like, I love ladies.
And some guys kind of like put it on, but you know,
I know guys like that.
But then they realize that their wife helped them with Jimmy Taco. And they're like, you know, I gotta go back to my wife.
Excuse me, it's Jamie Taco.
Jamie Taco, sorry.
I corrected someone on Facebook about that exact thing.
You shouldn't have. You should be embarrassed about that. Anyway, that's it for Gilbert. And now we have our final major arc of the night that we're wrapping up here, and that's Nikolo. It's only 2 parts. And then we have 2 more parts that we're going to blow through because they don't matter. And then we're going to end this and go to bed quickly. Because holy shit, this has been going on for a long time.
Okay. So, Nikolo's Business Unusual 4.
4.
You are helping him. He just wants an escort over to Watts's workshop in the Ulkin Mines. And you go there, and he's like, he starts fiddling around with the shelves. Okay. Is what he's doing here supposedly dropping off silver? Is that what he's doing?
Yes.
That's what he claims to be doing.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Well, yeah, later on, this is what we see that he has done. So
do we actually see that because I'm not entirely sure. I thought he was scamming Watts. That was what do you think, Vanessa?
I think that Nikolo knows that Watts doesn't have a good memory and is taking advantage of that.
So he does. He says that because he does say here.
I don't agree with
here.
that. I think he knows that Watts
Needed the silver because he keeps.
I think he knows that Watts is working so fast that he is not paying attention to his stores. And I think that he did go around and fill Watts's stores. And Watts did use the stuff, and Nikolo, I don't think that Nikolo is scamming him. I think that he did fill the stores. Because Watts doesn't say like, oh, I used more than I realized that I had. But he does kind of go, Watts does admit that this is possible, basically.
Yeah, it is within the realm of possibility that he gave him 30,000 lucre worth of silver. So he's like, okay, here's the thing. I lost my wallet, which does have 50,000 lucre in it. So if you give me gator skin, I can make that wallet again.
Even the game is like, this is so stupid. And part of me part of me was like, yeah, this game, but part of me was like, but you can't say that because you are the one that is doing this.
If you want to get paid your 50,000 lucre, give me a gator skin because it was a gator skin wallet, and I'll recreate the wallet, and then I can pay you from the wallet. And
and Nikolo's like, what? Are you an
The
idiot?
real question is did anybody not have a gator skin? Did you have to go hunt one down, Jim?
I had one.
I had a gator skin.
Well, so did I.
So you give him the gator skin. He makes his wallet, and he's like, "Wait, where's the money? What? There's no money in this wallet."
Yeah,
The
he's
whole
like, this is identical to my wallet. Where's my
The
money?
whole time Nikolo is getting like really mad because before you give him the gator skin, Nikolo's like, "What? No, that doesn't make sense, you fucking idiot." Like he's so pissed off about it. And then exactly what, which I thought that it did trick me because I thought that because Nikolo was so mad about it, I thought that Watts would open his wallet and be like, "There's my money." Because that's clearly what they were setting up. But instead, Watts then does the "I think you should leave" thing, and it's like, "There's no money here. Who took my money? Who took my money?"
Well, don't skeletons use bones as their money?
Yeah, well, but Watts is just like a little white guy. Like I know that he's a dwarf or whatever because he's like 1,000,000 years old, so he's like a Benjamin Button, I think, but. He is just, he's a Benjamin Button, but he's just a white guy. So don't pretend like he's not going to act like an entitled piece of shit.
Well, Nikolo does call him an old man, which is very surprising. So in the end, Nikolo takes some equipment from him instead of the 30,000 lucre. I liked when I got very confused when the blacksmith was explaining, okay, so my wallet has 50,000 lucre, and I'm going to give you 10,000 for the gator skin, and then 30,000 for the silver. So really, you're going to make money here. And I was like, what? What is happening? Next up is Nikolo calls it quits, which is once again a great little story. Do either of you want to go through this one?
Sure, I can do it. So you go to the Palace of the Arts, which is where the Gilbert statue was stored, and you talk to the woman there, and she says that she is ailing, but this rabbit has promised to provide her with a cure. But the rabbit is missing. So you go to the harbor and head to the beach, and there we find Nikolo. And Nikolo says that he doesn't remember anything about what was going on before. So you bring him back to the mansion. Nikolo says, "Look, I don't have any memories, but I understand that you're sick. I think that's horrible. And so free of charge, I am going to get some ingredients for you and cure you of this terrible malady." And
at this point, the little what's his name, Bartlesby, Sotheby's like, "Well, you know, madame, we got some kind of brain damage. I think it's called amnesia. So we could just," and she's like, "All I know, but let's just go with this. This is great.
Yeah, we won't have to pay him, and it's fantastic.
Because wasn't he going to charge $1 billion Wuka?
10 billion.
He was going to charge $1 billion lucre.
10 billion.
And she apparently agreed to this deal.
She's
for
dying.
some reason.
Yeah.
She says that she's tired.
That's true.
So
She's
you
looking for an upper.
She
you
is.
go to Gato
She is
Grottos.
looking for some cocaine. This is a
Nico
drug deal.
grabs a leaf off the bird's nest. You head back, and she's like, "Oh, this is great." And he's like, "Yeah, we just need one more leaf, and you'll be fully cured." And Sotheby's like, "Yes, you're an employee, so why don't you go do that right now?" And Nikolo's like, "Yeah, sure, boss, right away." So he heads back. Unfortunately, he does slip off the bird's nest, getting the last leaf.
He does. And after that experience, he, I guess, regains his consciousness.
You find him back at the beach. So, like, a whole... He has... For me, I think he has gone quite a ways.
So there's, it's the cartoon logic of if you get hit on the head and get amnesia, you can get hit on the head again and be reset back to normal, which is 100% true in real life. You should always try it.
No,
Yes, I
no,
100%
no,
agree.
no.
I endorse
no,
officially.
no.
TM. Copyright. I endorse this. Matthew Anson.
Never stand
Signature
under
power
a
of attorney.
coconut tree.
Vanessa K. podcast host.
Vanessa K. Vanessa.
And I believe this is somewhat built on real mental theory from the 40s or 50s that if you got traumatic brain injury, like to be smacked on the noggin again, clunkus nogginus
Yeah, they
or
also
whatever.
thought that if you misbehave too much, they should put a needle in your fucking eyeball and stab a part of your brain.
And by misbehave, it usually meant
you
like
until you were
be
drooling,
queer.
brain dead.
Or be a woman who doesn't want to be a housewife.
Be a woman on her period.
She's got hysteria.
How dare you? Here's some morphine. Like if my doctor every time I was like, I don't feel very good, was like, here's some morphine, I also would constantly go back to my doctor and be like, hey, I don't feel good.
So you go back to
And that's why America's fentanyl crisis happened. The
Christie's place one more time, and he's like, here's that leaf for you. And she's like, great, that's wonderful, that'll be 10 billion lucre. And she says, what? How could you? How dare you do this? And he says, well, it was part of our agreement, wasn't it? And she says, I don't have 10 billion lucre. And he's like, well, I'll take the palace instead.
No,
and
that's
Sotheby is
the
like,
deal they had
"Madam."
already made. He's like, no, the deal was
Yeah.
if you couldn't pay me, I take the palace and everything in it.
Yeah, he has a lien on it.
Yeah, he's got to lean on his property.
So then Sotheby is like devastated, but she's just kind of like, that's business. You win some, you lose some. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
She's real chill about it, which I appreciate. Like, what are you going to do, man? I agree. I'm right there with you, sister. Like, sometimes life gives you lemons, and you can make lemonade, and sometimes life gives you punches in the face, and you can make bloody face.
But then Nikolo explains that he does not have time in his busy business life to be managing this palace. So he hires her to manage it for him.
And Sotheby's like, I'll take that job too. He's like, I didn't
And
ask
Nikolo's
you.
like, I didn't offer you a job.
The end. Ba 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 da ba.
I bet this never would have happened if Skippy and Hippie were still around. Whatever
Well,
the
they
other
went
one's
on their
name
own
was.
legend adventures.
I know, they're on their own adventures, having a great time.
So
I'm
many
sure.
amazing plot threads in this game get dropped.
But I don't mind that because it's so silly. So, the Blessed Elixir. Now, Matt says we've talked about these nightmare puzzle-headed bartenders before. I don't remember.
Yeah, we did.
But it could have been while I was out of the room. Vanessa, do you remember talking about these
They're puzzle
nightmares?
Nope, but it could have been when I wasn't on the show.
They're puzzle men made out of puzzle
And-
pieces.
Someone on the internet said they look like Joey Fabiani. Is that his name?
What?
The Friends, Matt LeBlanc?
Matt LeBlanc? They don't look like Matt LeBlanc. What are you
Matt
talking
Perry?
about?
Joey Tribbiani? What's his name?
I think
You know, this
it's
feels
Tribbiani,
very
but-
body shamey, and I don't think that I'm here for it. So I think maybe we move on to the next joke.
He does have a giant head shaped like a puzzle
Yeah, no,
piece.
definitely.
What?
So, moving on.
I mean, I
The
think
Bart's...
Matt LeBlanc was widely considered to be the most
Oh,
handsome
for sure.
of the Friends
Remember?
men.
He played the handsome guy in that amazing Lost
Yeah.
Odyssey movie from the 90s that nobody liked. It's not good, but
Lost
it
Odyssey.
has
Oh
What, you
yeah,
Lost in
Lost in
Space.
Space.
It has Matt
There was a
LeBlanc.
Lost Odyssey
It
movie in the
has-
90s?
Who's the villain? It's not Norton. It's
It's based on a movie.
It's
Gary
Gary
Oldman.
Oldman.
Is the villain?
Oh,
I'm
no.
bleeding.
Why did I see that in
as
theaters
a Spider
twice?
Man.
You know what? That's,
I saw that in
it's one of the
theaters
movies that I
twice.
had on VHS, so I watched the fuck out of it. It's up there with like The
Yeah,
Fugitive
same here.
and You've Got Mail.
It's also got what's her name, Heather Graham is
Yeah.
the, which is weird because like she was like 14 or something in the series, like, and now she's like a sexy thing for Joey from Friends
That's
to
all
look
right.
at throughout
That's
the whole
all right.
movie.
There's
It's
nothing
really
wrong with
weird.
changing the ages up and mixing things up. Listen, y'all gotta not be beholden to the original versions so harshly. It's okay to have new versions.
Especially that
of
show, which was
old
trash.
properties, particularly
Yeah.
stuff that's trash. Listen, John, it's all trash. Like I like Batman, but holy shit, it's garbage. It's garbage.
Email Matthew at squarerootspodcast@gmail.com.
Over the fucking
Attention,
culture
Matthew.
wars. I'm done. Here's how I've decided that I've won the culture wars. I don't care anymore. I like what I like, and I'll kill you if you don't like it.
So Barman says that like his soul, he knows he has a soul because his soul's a barrel. And that's all he tells you. But this is supposed to lead you to be like, well, wasn't there a room deep in the caverns of Gatto Grotto full of nuns and barrels? And if you go there...
Now, hang on.
it took me about half an hour.
When you say if
to
you
find
go
it.
there, you mean magic. Because I spent an hour trying to find it. And eventually I popped back out at the entrance and said, you know what? I don't need to do this mission. I don't need to do this mission.
I
It
was
also
leveling up
took
my
me
Tomato
a
Man.
very long time.
Yeah, because like there's two different styles of screens there. Maybe it's very easy to get lost here. And
Yeah, and the
way
guide
to
we're
get
using said
there-
like go to the dungeon and then
Yeah.
go to this room. Like sometimes it's like go up.
Yeah, it'll go like
left,
down,
right.
left. Yeah.
Yeah, but they clearly have gotten lazy towards the end of this guide because they're just like go to this spot.
So the nuns, they're like, you know that someone came and drank all our soul water, and we need the soul water to operate their church or something. I don't remember. I
didn't understand what they were doing either.
Honestly, I was pretty high.
These are just like they're nuns making some whiskey in the basement. Monks have been doing it for ages.
So is this like cactus juice or something? Because Nikolo apparently they're like, oh, some large man with bunny ears came by and drank it all. And you go outside and Nikolo's like, are you a monster? Are you a fiend? You're gonna
Yeah,
have to
Nikolo's
fight?"
out there and
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
drunk off his fluffy-tailed ass.
Thinks you're a demon.
So you do have to beat up.
Well, Nikola's been through a lot.
Yeah, he has a fight,
He
Nicola.
fell to his death twice and survived. And the first
He's
time
had
he got
two
amnesia.
recent concussions.
And then the second time he got the amnesia knocked out of him, which I guess he fell and got like a big old bubble on his head, and then fell again and like squashed it back in.
Yeah, exactly. Physiology. So you beat up Nikolo, and then you head to Geo and talk to the bartender again. And he's like, well, this is, there's another bartender out in Lumina who really knows about this soul fluid. And you do head to Lumina, and there's that other nightmare puzzle piece head guy. And he's like, well, only people with soul barrels know what I'm talking about. Know what I mean? And you're like, yeah. He's like, oh, you must have a soul barrel too. And then suddenly you glow and a barrel is superimposed over you. And it's like, you have received the soul barrel.
Yeah, you have a barrel in your soul.
Yeah, you have a barrel in your soul.
And then you gotta go through
a little barrel in my soul.
the Duma Desert, and this took me literally an hour of trying to find this oasis because it is hidden. It's up if you're in the eastern desert, it's in the upper left behind some trees.
And it wasn't there before, so you can't remember where it was because it's brand new.
And you go there, and instantly your soul barrel glows, and then just gets filled up by a tap that appears.
It comes out of the soul barrel floats out of your body, floats over the oasis. A big, faucet-looking tap appears in the top of it, and it glugs up the water, glug, 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 and then it's you did it, mission over. The end.
That's the end. Oh, well, I do like that the nun's you've saved the world. Well, probably not.
Yeah, that was funny.
But thank you anyways. Finally, the Wimpy Thugling. I liked this one quite a bit. You got to make sure you don't have anyone in your party. You don't know pets.
Oh,
and
wait,
you have a
I do
space
have one thing
ranch.
to say. I'm sorry, Johnny.
Yeah,
One small step backwards. I picked up Nikolo while I was doing this quest and had him as my companion. So then at the end, when I returned to the nuns, they're like, oh, you did it. And you caught that rabbit for us. And Nikolo says, this isn't going to end well. And then that's the end.
That's great.
That's amazing.
So this one, you head to Duma Desert again, and then you talk to Tickle, who is a little fish man, one of those little fish guys with the little spear, the
Little
tridents.
yeah.
From Secret of Mana and from Final Fantasy Adventure. And his friends are making fun of him because they don't think he's good enough. And he's like, I'll show you. I'm going to beat up Kima. And they're like, you'll never do it. And he's like, yeah, I will. Wait, look at you. You're strong enough to beat up Kima. You can do it. You can help me beat up Kima. And I'm like, sure. Okay, we'll go beat up Kima now. And he was level 1 with 12 hit points. And so as I was going through the desert, he did gain 8 levels. So that's good.
Yeah, he was not strong enough to beat up Kima, let me tell you right
What level
now.
are you guys?
Well, no. Oh, look at Kitty. So I did.
What level are you guys?
Oh, I don't know, 35, 36?
I thought it was 38.
20-something? I don't know.
20-something.
Yeah, I'm 20-something, and I want everyone to know it.
I think that at the end of this, I was 51.
Dang.
I am 40, according to my level in this game.
And according to your driver's license.
No, incorrect. So you go and defeat Kima. It's once again working through. I think the desert's other than the stupid caverns, is the second hardest area to navigate through because there's hidden entrances and the layout doesn't make any sense. Even looking at a map, I had a hard time getting through here. But I did it, and I defeated Kima. It was not a hard fight, but little Tickle did have to sit to the side while Daddy took care of it.
I found Kima very difficult. I had to try a few times, and I think it's because the first time I wasn't actually hitting it because of the way its model is designed.
Yeah.
It has this kind of sandy base, and then this green plant head sticks out of it. And I was aiming for the plant head when I should have been hitting the sandy base.
Oh,
Yeah, Kima's
sure.
like an evil tree, right?
Yeah, I like its little melee where just a little vine pops out of the base of it.
Yeah,
It's funny looking.
it's like a vine lizard. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
looking deal. And it does have one of its attacks is that it suddenly grows a lot of pumpkins and then throws them around the level, and the pumpkins will explode and take a lot, half your health, even at level 40. This was a lot of fun. I
Yeah,
enjoyed
he
it.
hit hard. But once I figured out
Yeah.
where to hit him back, I just did backflips and killed him that way.
That backflip is so
Pure
ridiculous.
backflip power.
I've been trying to figure out does anybody have a dodge roll, like a true dodge roll? No.
No, I have that kickflip thing.
I have the kickflip thing. I've been trying to get a dodge roll. I've got now what I've got is like a, what's it called? Like a acrobatic flip or like a something, whatever it is. It's okay. Like it jumps. It's a jump that does like send you across the screen, which is nice. You know, but what I really want is like a dodge roll. I love a dodge roll because a dodge roll picks up stuff on the ground. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah, but like, and for a dodge roll for this game, you'd really only be able to go left, right, because like the game really sucks at letting you move up or down.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. That's kind of the problem with the combat. You really have to wonder why they decided to go with this Double Dragon style combat for this instead of the traditional Zelda type up and down combat, or full dimensional combat. I don't really know. I don't think that it does make it better. I like it. It's fun to play. I'll give them that. So maybe they're not totally wrong here. It's fun how it's fun how it's almost like a Secret of Mana Zelda style top-down action game, but has like Street Fighter style moves to it, kind of. But I feel like you could do that and still not be like a Double Dragon style. Because the one big complaint that I have with the game outside of the one big complaint I have of the combat is the occasional like, oh, am I on the right plane for this guy?
Mm-hmm.
But that's where that kickflip helps.
So your one reward for defeating Kima is a couple of seeds, and Tickle's like, really, thank you for your help. I think I'll feel like more of a hero if I have those seeds. Can I have them? And you say, sure, buddy. They're yours. Really? Thanks. Well, I guess we have to part now. And he now knows what real courage is because you showed him how to be a hero. And that's the end of that story. And friends, that's the end of the chapter.
Yay! Fuck.
Yay.
All right. Golems. Matt's talked about golems enough today.
You know what? That's true. But I will say very quickly, Matt's punishment corner. Matt and Jim. I'll give Jim a moment if he wants.
I don't really have anything to talk about, if I'm being honest.
That's fine. I've already talked about my golem, but I will say quickly, you know, I still am struggling to understand it a lot, but I did manage to craft myself a spear with 130 attack. With including my power is like 140 attack, so that's awesome. And fucking now I literally can just poke everything once and it dies, and that's, I don't know, I've kind of broken the game to be honest with you. I grinded spirit coins for a while one day because it actually was kind of fun to do. And so now I have a do you guys know what a control fire spell is? You can create a instrument that has a control fire spell, which is a spell where you hit the button to cast the spell, you hold it down, which you always have to do to cast a spell, and then with the right stick you can control where, or maybe it's the left stick, where the spell's going to go off. Like a little circle appears on the screen that you can move around with the stick. So you can just kind of move it and envelop a couple of enemies and hit them. And then there's also control lock spells, which is that, except it also locks the enemies in place. You need special golden elemental coins that you would have to grind to make them, but it's worth it because the power's crazy. It also makes it so that once you have one, when you have to go grind for coins, if you're going to do that, which you need for tempering, which you need to beef your weapons up, it makes it super easy because
Muffins up.
your weapons, you beef their stats up, Anyway, it makes it super easy because when you have just like your typical bought from the store instrument, when you go back to a boss area and the elementals are there, like the djinn or the salamander, you can play music, and then if you wait until they're literally on top of you, they'll kind of slowly move across the screen. And if you wait until they're really close and you stop playing and you talk to them, they'll give you like 9 coins, elemental coins. But it's tough because sometimes you won't move fast enough and then you'll have wasted your time. It can be a little tough, but it can be fun because once you get a powerful enough instrument, they'll just like shoot across the screen towards you. And it is pretty funny. And I was like laughing and like singing along with the music. I'm like, yeah, girl. Yeah, come on, Wisp. Get over here, you fucking weird blob. Come over, and because what you really want to do is wait until they're literally on top of you. And then if you stop playing and hit the X button, like your success rate's like 100% basically. You know what I mean? And that's fantastic. So it's really funny because they really do. They suddenly like you have a magnet. They just zip across the screen. It's a lot of fun, and then you can create super strong weapons. So I have a spear. It's 130. I poke everything. All these bosses we're talking about, I kind of didn't have a lot to say about because for me, I did poke them 3 or 4 times and they did die, and that was great. And also, if your weapon attack power is super high, that also makes your kickflip attack power super fucking high. So it's silly how much damage my kickflip does now. It's pretty fun. That's Matt's and Jim's Punishment Corner, and now Squarely Against. John.
I am roundly for the Walrus and the Pinglings, especially the one about how it's okay for the siren to sing her song. Didn't make a whole lot of sense, but I thought it was fun and kind of goes with the do what you want to do ethos of this game that I quite enjoy, even if it's insane. What about you, Jim?
I'm gonna agree with you, John. I think the line of the chunker for me was the walrus explaining that if their ship does sink into the ocean, it's okay because they're already sea animals and he's already a walrus, so it's fine. What about you, Vanessa?
This might be a little bit premature, but I couldn't be here last week, and I'm here this time, and I just want to say that I'm roundly for how much you guys have come to enjoy this game, because I've loved it for a long time. It's so weird, it's so cartoony, it's so fun, and it's just great to be playing it with my pals.
Aw.
And Matt.
I'm squarely against how Vanessa has never mentioned this game before because it's a delight.
That would be great if Matt was like, I'm squarely against Legend of Mana.
No, Jim. No. Don't be silly. I'm squarely against Vanessa. She's been hiding this game from us. Vanessa, we are all open and honest with you, and we bare our souls all the time, and I just want to know when you're going to do that with us and share things like Legend of Mana, because I would have played this 5 years ago if you had told me to.
You've got to hide your games away. Hey.
Don't.
I have definitely put this up for a vote in the past, so you did know about it.
Just because you put votes or nothing.
Vanessa's definitely talked about it before,
Votes
by the way.
are not a thing. I mean, admittedly, I'm sure I looked at it, and all of the reviews are like, it's trash. And they're not wrong is the problem. Guys, the problem is we're at the end of this game. We're so deep into it that like we have Stockholm Syndrome. Like, I give it 2 thumbs up. I love this game, but also it's garbage. The entire first 20 hours of this game needs massive changes in regards to how the game is played. And also, the game's got to learn to let me move my... If you're going to make land placement so important, you got to let me pick them up and move them. That's all it really needs. Yeah. And it's not just that.
It's not an accessible game.
It's bad. And also, these systems are really great. Like, the tempering system is a great example of, like, the tempering system is part of the blacksmithing system. And it's a great example of a system that's so in depth that people are literally still finding new shit in it, like now, which is amazing. It's crazy how in depth it is, but it's so inaccessible that like people are still trying to figure it out 20 years later. Like that's a bummer, you know. It's good and it's bad. Anyway. That's it for this episode of Square Roots. Thank you for joining us. First, we have to talk about, I don't have the notes up, but I believe we have to talk about our Patreon. Right? Wrong?
Oh, we should say that we're finishing the game next episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
We'll
Yeah.
be finishing Legend of Mana. Hey, we can announce the next game, or did we? Oh, no, we did that last episode.
Yeah.
I edited it. I edited it
We did.
so fucking well. I can't wait. John, I can't wait for you to listen to this episode. I can't wait to wake up tomorrow to like 10 messages from John that are like, oh, Matt, I loved this cut. Oh, Matt, I loved this plug in. Oh, Matt, I loved this record scratch. It's going to be great. It's going to be a good time.
Oh, yeah. So next game, by the way.
It's Skyrim.
Skyrim.
We announced it last time.
I know.
Yep.
Just
It's
as a
the
reminder.
10-year anniversary. It's time. Skyrim. You've probably played it a whole bunch, but you never have you played it like we're going to. So
I feel like every time we announce a game, seemingly like a lot of the games that we've played on the show, there's been some kind of larger announcement made in tandem with the game. Like,
yeah,
when
because
we-
like gamers, like developers love us. The game studios are listening, and they're like, "Oh, they want to do Legend of Mana. Let's do a re-release. Oh, they want to do Skyrim. Let's release Skyrim Anniversary Edition."
Yeah, Mass Effect Legendary.
All right, friends. We got what happened to? Oh yeah, we got a Patreon, right?
We have a Patreon with some bonus stuff. You can check it out at patreon.com/SquareRootsPodcast.
$3 gets you all the bonus episodes. $5 lets you vote a couple of times a year on what games you're gonna play.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Matt, thank some Patreons for us. We will thank a smattering of our patrons right now.
I would like to thank David Green, Jason Timms, Sean, Tom, more like Legend of Dendrophilia, Andy Smith, D.
What is
Jethro,
that?
Rolled Earth,
I
T.
don't know.
Bumpkins is gonna need
that like
an
being
amnesia
sexually attracted
stone
to
after
flowers?
walking in on sexy, horny grandma. Stands,
Attraction to
sham,
trees?
slam, shames, Sean's shit shed. Arthur A. And Go Cry Wolf.
And I would like to thank Jerry Schreffler, Race Jenkins, Tracy the Borg Queen, Vanessa's Renegade Cheeseplate, Citrus C, when performing The Stranger, is it technically stranger danger? Chris Penyak, if you want to know how to use blubber sexual, check out Ron's OnlyFins with guest
Only
Johnny.
Fins?
Only
This
Fins.
Oh, wait, check it this month.
Mhm.
Also, Do Good Recklessly, Tyler Petty, Eric Garb, and Hales.
Legend of Menomina. Wah wah wee wah. Robert M. Pullum, Samu Mitchell, Andy M., Kevin Walter, Christian Go, Wash in the Wind, Jameson, Stardrifter, Tracy, Solomon Wagner, CharityWater.org, and Vanessa's mom does not have a soul barrel.
I'd like to thank Ryan Miller, Ari Corpivara, Grey Code, Still Just Ella Zool's complete lack of chill, Joshua Bennett, Anthony Orbison, Sean Gonzalez, Mary, Queen of Scoffs, Tyler Crump, Aaron Bachman, Magpie Juju, Saving Sid, and no pithy profile name this week. I'm on break.
All right, that's it for this episode of Square
That's true.
Roots. If you'd like to have an email read on the air, you can email us at squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people. Or you can find us on Twitter at Square Roots Pod.
Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Ghana, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks to Stephen Morris for our new Square Roots theme. You can find Stephen on Twitter as Beige on Beige and on YouTube. Links are in the show notes.
Hey, if you're on Spotify and you're listening to these episodes and you're like, hey, these are cool, but I want more, check out our Libsyn. We have more.
squareroots.libsyn.com.
Vanessa refuses to say it. For Square Roots, I've been Johnny Brandon.
And I'm Jim Banks.
And I'm Matthew Van Zant.
And I'm Vanessa.
I thought that you weren't doing that because you're job hunting.
YOLO.
You know, you don't want to get hired by any place that doesn't warn you with a 2 months notice that you're going to get drug tested because they know that you're going to need time to pass
Have
it.
you
know?
ever had
That's
that
true.
happen in a job, actually?
Where like
or
I've been
selected
randomly
at all? Because I
selected?
have had many jobs and I've never had to take a drug test.
Yeah, I haven't since like 2007.
Yeah, I definitely back in my early 20s, I had some jobs where they would occasionally pop you and be like, "Hey, you should go get drug tested." But with me, I always looked so bedraggled and strung out because I had been up late drinking, not using drugs. So, F you, people that tried to get me fired by drug testing me. I passed.
I had to take a drug test.
That job eventually fired me when I got food poisoning. And they were like, "Did you get a doctor's note?" And I was like, "No. What are you talking about? Who goes to the doctor when you have food poisoning? I'm going to throw up and diarrhea for fucking 4 hours, and I'm going to sleep for 2 days." "Well, no doctor's note. You're fired." They didn't like me there anymore. For a while, I ran part of the
The
company.
only drug testing I ever had to do was when I was
Cut all that.
about to go on a couple of those medical experiments for money.
Oh, like the pharmaceutical experiments? I have shy bladder, so getting drug tested
Yeah.
is an absolute nightmare
So
for me
that-
and takes hours.
Yeah, I don't have that as much anymore. But when I was younger, I definitely had that problem, and I remember drug tests that I would sit there for hours, just guzzling water
Yeah.
and being like, "Please,
Yeah.
I'm begging you, pee."
Oh, not me. I'm just like, wee everywhere.
All right, we are
No, this seems pretty on topic.
way
Yeah,
off
these are
topic.
great stories. I did have to pee in the cup once at the doctor to prove I wasn't pregnant.
Wow.
And guess
Were you
what?
pregnant?
I was not.
Wow.
No.
Oh.
Are you pregnant now?
No.
Okay, that's good. Did I ever tell you guys about the time that I went in to get
I've done it for,
went in
like,
for a
medical
consultation
testing.
for a vasectomy?
No.
I feel like I have,
Uh-uh.
but I'll tell you again
And
anyway.
the doctor was like, "It's too thick to snip. Our scissors would never get through this massive hog."
They don't actually cut into your dick.
That's also what happened to me with the drug testing. Or not drug. Well, the
You were
pharmaceutical
too fat
trials.
to drug test. They
Yeah.
were like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
can't fit through the door."
No,
We got
they
drug
just
testing.
won't.
We can't make him do it. In
You
a
have to be
parking
like,
lot.
you have to be skinny to do those pharmaceutical trials for some reason.
So, anyway, so I went in for a vasectomy
Oh, really?
consultation, and so this is the story. I walk through the door and have a very quick conversation with the man. "Hello, how are you? How many kids? Do you have any kids? You know, what are you thinking here?" "Yep, I want to get a vasectomy. I got a bunch of kids." "All right, cool. Well, let's just have a look." So you stand up, and I stand up. He says, "Stand up," and I stand up, and he says, "Drop your drawers," and I drop them, and I'm standing there in this very Superman shirt.
Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Wow.
and John, my fucking pants were around my ankles, so and nothing else. And so, of course, I did put my hands on my hips, Superman style, which is I I stand like that a lot,
What el-
actually.
what
Like
else
I'm a
are you
big
gonna do
hands-on
with
hits
him?
guy. But anyway, so I'm standing there, Superman style, while this guy kneels down in front of me and takes his pen, of course, and he flips it around and he starts poking to the side of my and I like start to. I just as I'm like feeling him poking, I start to tunnel vision, and next thing I know, the next thing I know, this is the stupidest thing. So I'll give it to you from my perspective. I start to tunnel vision, and I'm like, I think, and then the next thing I know, I'm on the ground, and the doctor's above me, and I come, because you know when you pass out, you come back like it's like reverse tunnel vision kind of, and so I came out of it with like Slipknot or something blaring in my ears, some heavy metal. This pinprick appears, and then it slowly turns into the doctor looking at me, and of course I immediately start grabbing at my fucking pants. What has happened is I fell straight backwards, and my head came within like a half an inch of the wall, of the bottom of like of the molding at the bottom of the wall. So if I'd been standing 2 inches backwards, I would have broken my neck. But I just passed out. That's it. That's the whole story. I passed out, and I like scrabbled to get my pants on, and the whole time the guy's going,
That's how straight
you
that is.
don't need to do that. The whole time, Matt, I'm going, you don't need to do, he's going, you don't need to do that, and I'm going, yeah, I do. Like, I got to get my pants back on.
Poor Matt.
Did you lock your knees or something?
Yeah,
Because if
I
you
don't
lock
know.
your knees
Maybe.
and stand up too long, you can. Just
I
pass
don't
out.
know.
That's terrible.
And you know what? I feel like this is not the first time I've told the story on the show. I just hit my...
It definitely is.
And I feel like
never heard that.
I feel like that's not the first time John's made that joke. Anyway, I put my pants back on and scurried out, and the guy tried to make me feel better. He was very nice. He's like, you know what happens? He's like, I had a guy a couple of years ago just like you, like big giant guy. He was like a cop, and he came in and he just fucking did the same thing, passed out. Anyway, that's how straight I am. So straight that if a man comes near my penis, I faint.
Your brain just
how
shuts
many
off.
jokes do you think my friends made that were the opposite of that joke for several years, though? Oh, did you hear about that man that came near his penis and he just fucking passed out? Man touched his penis for the first time in his life and he fell over.
Do you think it was, well, first of all, it surely was not the first time because you were birthed by someone, and I presume a man was part of the team. Secondly,
Sexist.
do you think...
He's
Do you
also
think it
probably
was-
circumcised?
Well, we don't know, and we do not need to know.
Is it? Wait, do only bros circumcise other bros? Is that how that works?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bros circumcised bros. That's the name of the episode right there.
Do you think it was the anticipation of what a vasectomy was, or do you think it was just one of
Don't
those
try
things
to dig
where,
into
like,
the psychology of something that happened to me that I barely remember from 5 fucking years ago. I don't know, man.
I think that what really needs to happen is you should go and have it done again and see if history repeats.
Yeah, do it
Why
live
is
on the
Vanessa trying to
Airport
convince
podcast.
me to get a
That's a
vasectomy
great
on the show?
Can you Facebook stream yourself going to the consultation? You've said that you wanted to branch into YouTube. I'm just trying to help.
Holy shit.